Welcome to another episode of Dollar Dorks. This is episode number 17. On this podcast, we aim to share video game buying and selling tips, suggest games to watch out for, provide tips on how to fund your collection using your collection, and hopefully change the perception that some people have of sellers in the video game collecting community. With me today is just my co-host, Chris, CWR2. I changed it to the Garage Sale Samurai this time.
Okay, I'll take that.
And
more accurate.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You thought more garage sales, and I agree. You do garage sales more, I think.
I love swap meets, but
okay, next week will be swap meet something. Right. That would have been really good with Samurai, but I'll find something else. And I'm Derek of Two Dorks. So what's new? You went to Game On Expo just this past weekend.
I sure did, and had a great time. The convention was very well organized. It could have had a little more game vendors, but you know they're going through a growth process. I mean, this is the first time I've gone to Game On, but I know before, I believe it was in a smaller arena or a smaller convention hall.
Okay.
This one was like right in downtown Phoenix. I mean, the Phoenix Suns play across the street, and the Diamondbacks play across. I mean, so we're right there next to these big stadiums. It's right in the heart of Phoenix. So I understand why he probably. You got to do what you got to do to fill the convention up. So no knock on Gamester and the organizers, but that would have probably been the only thing I could say that was a little lackluster. But for me, I actually got everything I was I always have goals, like, I mean, most people should, right?
Yeah.
And of course you see stuff that wasn't really on the list and you whatever, but
yeah.
Even if some people's goals weren't being met, like I know Curtis. Oh yeah, just a little more background. Me and Curtis drove to.
I was gonna say, how long of a drive was it there?
Yeah, we actually did it really well. Partly to do with me probably talking a lot, and Curtis probably wanting to get there faster than he might normally want to. I was hopped up on coffee. I hadn't slept the night before. I couldn't get to sleep.
Oh no.
And
couldn't sleep, or like different.
I couldn't sleep at all. I did not sleep 1 minute.
What were you thinking about? Were you thinking about the convention, or?
I just adrenaline, man. I don't know. I don't even know why. Because to be honest, I really wasn't that excited about the convention. I was just more. I guess
getting together.
Anything else, I was exciting about the people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the game stuff. I love the negotiation process. I mean, some people are like, oh, conventions are high. I don't know, man. I don't have that experience. When I go, whatever they say, we start negotiating. If they don't negotiate, that's fine. But.
Mm-hmm.
This is my experience. I've always been able to pretty much get what I want for a price that I wanted, or very close to the price where I was comfortable with. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But everybody convention's different. Some people say, "How much you want for this?" And he's like, $30. Okay, and they walk away. I don't know. It isn't always everybody's forte. You know what I mean? But I had a great time, and a lot of the vendors I know.
I was going to say that it might have to do with them knowing you too, but even if you don't know them, they probably still want to negotiate most of the time.
You know what? I will say, I did not get the feeling that it really all about personalities. You know how it is, man. Like it's kind of how you approach somebody, how you talk to them, and some people might not have the same success rate. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But getting to know the vendors is definitely a bonus. There's no doubt about that. When you know them by name, you know them, they recall you, because you like to make an impression. Hopefully it's a good one. You know what I mean? Like,
you're the guy who always offers me half what I have of sticker price.
Well, and I always usually start with that. So what I'll do is, this was mostly my main strategy throughout the haggle process. I'll look at them and kind of smile a little bit, and I'm looking at the price, and they know what's coming. So I was switching up a little bit, so I was like, so what's the lowest you'll take?
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, and they're sitting there thinking it, and only one actually came back with, what do you offer? But everyone other than that actually hit me with a number.
Oh, okay.
And then and if I really liked the number, I was just like, okay, I'll take it.
Okay.
Or I just try to get a little bit less, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Did getting a little bit less work? Like, do you think they didn't throw out their lowest number, or you pushed them lower than they thought they would go?
By the look on their face, the pain that went through their body, I
Yeah.
think that was their lowest number. But kind of like, come on, man. You know,
Yep.
do it. You know, there's one guy who's a tough negotiator, but he's a very fair guy. And he's from Lost Levels. His name is Steve. But he prices stuff so good, he already knows he's at the right price. He knows. He's already given you the bro discount. So, but, you know, I still was hitting him lower, and he's just like, no, I'm not going to do it. And I was like, he's like, but I know you have to ask. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, I got to ask, right? He goes, dude, I've been doing this for 20 years, but I'm telling you, it's a really good price. I was like, I know it's a good price, but
I want a better one.
$5 less would be even better, but that's okay.
It's $5 more I can spend on something else.
Deal on trade, and I traded in some PS1 RPZs that I didn't really care about.
Huh. That's good. They usually give you shitty prices for anything trade-ins. I mean,
if I would have took them and sold them myself after fees and all that, I would have probably got that, or maybe a few dollars more, but not much. I might have got 60, and he gave me 50. You know what I mean? I didn't have to do no work.
Yeah, exactly. No shipping it out. No worrying about returns.
I had nothing, and I got this. I mean, it's probably gonna be glary because of the box protector, but I got the most cleanest.
I saw that on your.
This thing
Instagram or Twitter? One of the
it's
other,
like
both.
it's brand new without the wrap.
Yeah.
Like I think I'm the first one to open it. I mean that's how it felt.
It's crazy.
Like I mean I can't.
For something that old, it's crazy to think that it could be new
crease, like you know on the flap. There's always a crease.
Yeah, right in the middle where they pull with their thumb.
Stiff. Yeah, it's so stiff when you actually open it up. It stays kind of.
It's because it's freshly printed.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
It was printed 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Actually, it's fake, and he screwed me over.
Exactly.
But so back to the car ride. Curtis was really gassy. We'll just move on from that. Now, but good news is his brother called when we were at one of the best rest stops. Well, actually, text, but he got a new niece, his first niece / nephew. You know, either or, but his first. You know, it's like it's weird. There's no like
term for niece or nephew.
That,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because you say like son or daughter, then you're just like my children. There's
got to be a word. We just don't know it.
I don't know it, but anyways, it's his first. Any of his family members to have a child, or his brother or sister.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was pretty exciting. So he was really happy, and of course the joke, one of his running jokes is, hey, my niece is like 3 hours old, or you know what I mean? It's like, this is the anniversary of my niece's birthday. She was born yesterday. You know?
Apparently the word is nibbling. Nibbling? Yeah, nibbling. Plural, nibblings. A child of one sibling or of one sibling-in-law. In other words, a niece or nephew.
I think if you said that in the wrong environment, you might get arrested. You know, you go to some preschool and ask for your nibblings, they might be calling CPS. I wouldn't do it. I don't recommend it.
It's like a doctor asking if they can numb a girl's breasts. Num 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 num.
Right. So I want to go back a little bit before that. I wanted to make sure to tell the story because I didn't actually have time. I forgot to talk to Eric about this, and that's Q Dog. Yeah. He said his name online, hasn't he?
Yeah, lots. Yeah.
Okay. I forget who's. So Eric and Melissa, me, Eric, Melissa, and Curtis, we all split a room. Well, actually, me and Curtis crashed it. You know, we crashed the party.
And paid them some money. Yeah.
Yeah. We divided it 4 ways.
Yeah.
So, you know, man, if I can make a deal ahead of time that saves me cash, I'm gonna try. So I messaged Eric and I was like, hey, so you know, I have these things. Like, you want to trade? Like, maybe we can trade against the room, whether it's all the way or partial or whatever. And he goes, yeah, that'd be great. What do you got? So I started sending him all kinds of pictures of things, and so eventually he started showing some interest in stuff, right?
Yeah.
And I wanted to, before I even like started the negotiation in my mind, I wanted to make sure I knew exactly what everything was worth, and I wanted to give him a huge discount on it. Like, I was just like, okay, well, I could sell this for all this, but I don't care. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I felt like I already kind of like offered him a pretty good offer, and maybe he felt the same way. But so then his first response was, oh, because he didn't want to have to bring it back. So he's like, well, how will I get that home? And I was like, I can ship it to you. And he goes, okay, so we'll cover your room and pay for shipping. And then I started thinking about it. I'm like, well, I mean, well, what if I kicked in on the ship? Now I'm starting to think, man, it sounds like a dick when you say it. After like spending time with him, I understand his cadence and everything now, but when you're reading
yeah.
When you're reading it,
he was just clarifying, absolutely, and he was okay with it. He wasn't trying to hint, yeah.
And I never thought in a negative way, but like you question yourself, like, oh, am I ripping him off here? And like, okay, well, what if I throw in these other things, and then I'll pay up to X amount of dollars, and then you pay the difference, and you this and that. And I don't know. It sounded very convoluted when I wrote it. In my mind, I totally understood what I was saying, but when I actually wrote it, I'm like, that doesn't. And then he repeated it again. I'm like, is this his tactic? Like, he's doing pretty damn good.
Just repeat what they say in a different tone.
Right. I don't think Eric realizes how good of a negotiator he was, because it's funny because I'm sure he was.
Maybe he knows how good a negotiator he is.
Well,
and that's the key.
Maybe.
He acts like he doesn't know, but he really does.
Well, he's a very smart man, so I wouldn't.
I wouldn't put that past him. Yeah.
I wouldn't put it past him. But so then I'm like, well, okay. I'll tell you what. How about this? I'll ship it all medium mail. Probably shouldn't cost more than maybe $8 or $10 max, and then you cover the shipping, and then I'll just throw everything in. It was like 2 Master Systems and a television game, this ColecoVision rollerball, these 2 Atom controllers. Like it was a pretty nice deal. And then he comes back with, okay, so all of that, I pay the shipping and that covers your room. And at this point, I was just like, all I just replied with was yes.
You're like, I'm not letting him talk me into paying more.
Like, I don't know what to do. If I do anything else, I'm going to be sending you half my collection. And, you know what I mean?
And Chris's update for his collection, I now have no NES games.
Right.
Eric has them all.
Right. So I was like, I need to get away from this phone. But no, it was really cool. They couldn't have been any more gracious. Him and Melissa, very cool people to hang out with. I was really glad to be able to finally meet them in person. And Julian, man, Julian's really cool. I was really happy to meet Julian. That was the first time. I mean, I have to say, I've communicated with him some online, but not as much as I probably should have. I don't know. Now that I've actually hung out with him, I'm like, hey, dude, why haven't you called me? You know what I mean? But no, Julian was really cool, man. He came bearing gifts. He gave me a cool old wrestling buddy, NWO Hulk Hogan.
Nice.
I should have it right here. It's actually in the other room, but and he came bearing gifts. Everybody got something. It was really nice, and it was really fun hanging out with him. He's a really laid back guy, and anyway, so that was fun. So the first day of the convention, the Q Dogs didn't get there till later. They didn't actually get to go to day one, so it was just me and Curtis, and then eventually Julian met up with us. So I mean, I pretty much blew all my money the first night. I mean, I got such good deals. It's like, well, they're not going to get any better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sometimes on the last day they're willing to do more negotiations, but it depends. If these guys are paying a lot for the table, they're bigger vendors, and maybe you're right, and they just are fine with carrying on to the next show.
Yeah, the way I look at it is, okay, well, all right, let's say I got a random Nintendo 64 game, and they want $10, and I get them to go to $7. I mean, maybe they could have went to $5, or maybe someone else could have bought it. And
that's true. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And
it's frankly, there now. It may not be later.
It was already cheaper than the going rate already, and I've got them to go down even more. So it's like, well, what am I wasting time for? They're there to make money. I'm there to have a good time. The thing is, if they don't make any money, there will be no convention. So, You know what I mean?
Well, and you brought it up with time, too. You do just want to get on and move on to the next table, too.
Yep. That's true.
Let alone hang out with friends.
And not only that, sometimes when you buy those cheaper purchases from them, when you come back later to hit them up for more expensive purchases, now, or a more expensive purchase, now it's like, hey, man, remember I bought stuff off you? And they're like, oh, yeah, of course, you're a good customer. It's like, well, great.
Yeah, or if you haggled too much, they're like, yeah, I don't want to deal with this guy again. I'm sticking to my price this time.
Oh, for sure. That it could backfire. I didn't get that experience, but I know that experience.
Yeah.
I know that one because I have a friend who's he doesn't I don't know. He doesn't get the friendly aspect to haggling, and he comes off more aggressive. So he'll get it the one time, but he's been banned from places. Like they're like, nope, we don't want you in the store. So it's like,
oh no.
They couldn't handle the pressure, I guess. So it's like, see, you went about it all wrong. But so that later that night, we hooked up with NES Complex and a Vintage Video Game Geek, and we had some beers and had a lot of laughs, told a lot of stories. Curtis might be the best storyteller ever, and I'm sure he knows it, but he's really good. He's got a great recollection, and voices and faces and everything. Very, I mean, I like to say I like everybody equally, but I mean, Curtis has got a special place. You know what I mean? Like, he's a real, like, that's a fucking my bro to the end. You know what I mean? Like, we've hung out many times, but this one is just like, you know, if you could put up with me for a 12-hour car ride, you know what I mean? Like,
it takes a special person, right? That's what you're saying.
Well, and vice versa. If someone could put up with his gas for a 12-hour car ride, then I think I proved my worth too.
You saying Layla is a saint for putting up with him?
I don't think he's that gassy around. I think he saves it for me. You know what I mean?
All the time, just all day long,
so.
saving it for you.
Be a thing with him now.
Well, I can finally fart. I'm around Chris.
Right. Yeah. But so that was really cool. There was this one booth though, the booth where I got the Super C. Steve from Lost Levels, they had just bought like somebody's immaculate collection, right? I mean, these boxes, whoever had it was like one of those kind of collectors. Like, everything has to be perfect. I mean, with inside this box, I did actually open and pull everything out. I mean, It has inserts I didn't expect to be in there. I thought it was just going to be box manual game. It had a poster, had the mail away card. I mean, and it even smelled new. Like, I mean, it's crazy. But there was a couple of Master System games that Eric was looking at, and there was a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle game that the Latin Legend was looking at, Julian. I actually picked it up probably like 10 times. I now I regret not even buying it myself, but I mean, they were just so beautiful. But so they're like, hey, see if you can get him down some, and I know Steve is tough, so I was like, I'll give it a shot. So I actually got him to go down $5 off the total price, which is basically not really much. But but me and Julian, I was like, dude, it's actually probably a really good deal on that box. And he actually looked it up, and later on, he's like, oh my God, it really is. So, because they like kind of declined it in the moment, we all took a walk, and I was talking with Eric, and he's like, well, what would you do? And I was like, well, look, the way I look at things is, I don't know. You say you buy something, you might regret it in the moment, but 3 months from now, are you going to regret more buying it or not buying it? To me, I could regret buying it because I can always sell it and get the money back or some of the money back or whatever. But when you regret not buying it, that haunts you forever. Now, every time you run into it, it costs more. Yep. You never get it. And it's, you hear people talk about it all the time. NES Complex was telling me how he had the button right over the buy it now for Little Samson for $100. Yeah. And he was going to click it, and he talked himself out of it. And guess who doesn't have Little Samson? You know what I mean? So I said, man, I would just buy it, dude. I mean, it was like $30. I mean, it was a really very clean. For the Master System, they have their library is actually bigger overseas and in Brazil. I mean, they kept producing, I think, into the 2000s or early 2000s. It was way past its life. They kept pumping out games, and they had a port of Mortal Kombat 2. He already had Mortal Kombat. He was thinking about maybe upgrading, but then he decided to bundle up with Julian, which was actually very nice of him because Julian ended up getting the discount, and he actually paid the full price on the game. But so that was really cool. And Julian was definitely on the amiibo hunt, man. Like, it felt like that's all he was buying. He's definitely trying to finish up his set. So that was really cool. We had fun. It was nice seeing all the YouTubers and the YouTube fringe, like the ones who aren't the big stars, but
yep.
You know what I'm saying? The others, I guess. Of course, Ricky and Aaron, they were there. Or I mean, Riff. and Aaron were there filming, so that was kind of neat watching that in action from afar. I mean, I've been in one of their videos before, and it's when they don't mess around, dude. It's like, hey, you want to be there? Oh, bam, camera right in your face. It's like, okay.
Yeah, I was just watching a couple of their videos recently, and I was thinking, Jesus, just the transitions. It's kind of like Game Chasers, where they have like something interesting in every transition, right? Or something funny, or they're just always going. Especially with NES Pursuit, they're always like, something's always going on, and I don't know. I just can't imagine that mind that edits that, right?
Well, I say Aaron is one hell of an editor.
Yeah, let alone when you're filming. You always have to be
thinking about
where you're going to use this scene. Either that, or they just catch a lot of footage and make it work afterward. But
from observing, it's, hey, we're going to come over here. Bring the camera. You know what I mean? It's like, they pretty much film everything, and they probably just, well, that's not interesting, or they razor it down to the interesting part. But
with Chicago, I found myself being embarrassed. In Chicago, I found myself being embarrassed holding the camera, and I just had a small GoPro, not some like good quality camera. I just feel embarrassed bringing it and recording everywhere. And the times when I didn't feel that, I got some footage that was like, that looks good.
Yeah, man, like, I can understand that, where you're coming from, but it's a camera society now, man. If people don't have actual cameras in their hand, they got their phones, and everybody's recording everything.
Yeah.
So I think that stigma is kind of gone now. I mean, at least I've noticed. I didn't see any vendor didn't care, because there was if you don't like cameras, don't go to a convention.
And a convention wasn't bad. I only had one person one time at a convention say, "Why are you recording me?" And he was a vendor.
That's so weird.
Yeah, I don't know if he was joking or not, but I've seen him several times since, and he doesn't do it anymore. He's fine with it. But I'm thinking even in Chicago, it was more about going to thrift stores and recording.
Right.
And the looks you get from old ladies and random people, and yeah.
That could be a little trickier, because now you're talking about a corporate entity that's like, nope, we don't want any of that, because they don't. And
I didn't get permission, because I don't want to go to the freaking store people and ask them.
Absolutely, they'll say no, because they're not going to risk their job for it. I mean, think about it. They don't know if you're, Joe YouTube or your Dateline trying to bust them on something. They don't.
Yep.
They don't want nothing to do with it. You know what I mean? They're not going to find out the hard way and lose their jobs over it. So Saturday was their first. So this is kind of a funny story. So Saturday, we get up and we went to Starbucks, ate, and when I say we, us and the Q Dogs, or me and Curtis and the Q Dogs, and we met Julian at the convention. He actually had to. Julian is a brave man, apparently, because where his hotel was, he's like, man, there's hookers walking around there. Like, it's really weird, because it wasn't really that far from where we were. And like, we're in like this really clean downtown area. And apparently he's in their version of Compton or something. I don't know. But so
cheap hotel.
So we ate. What's that?
Cheap room.
Yeah, no, for sure, because he was paying like $50 a night. So like bulletproof vest extra, I guess.
That's when there's a red flag. Maybe I should not be doing this room.
Well, apparently he made it. So I've seen him.
He lived. Yeah.
He made it home.
He's got tats. He's all right. No one's gonna mess with him.
Yeah, he throws up the W. You know what I mean? He lets you know. What's funny is I copied him on one of our pictures, and he's like, he laughed about it. I was like, yeah, I got to represent the gang and stuff. I didn't even make the connection that he was doing it because of Wisconsin or whatever, but it's whatever. Because around here, you start flashing signs, you're likely to get shot. Like, a lot of gangs. But anyway, so the Q Dogs, we were actually joking about it earlier about, VIPs or something, like getting in early. Like, you could get a VIP, you could pay an extra $10 or $5 or whatever it was to get those extra little sticker on your badge that lets you in early. And I don't know, I'm pretty sure Eric said something like, oh, I wouldn't buy that. No, whatever. So they get there and they get their badges, and when they turn around, it's like, I guess I bought the VIP.
They just mentioned that on their Q Dog video that came out.
Yeah, I know. I just watched it. It kind of reminded me of it. So they ended up getting in like 15 minutes earlier than us. Like, they could have, if they would have went down there earlier, they could have got in an hour earlier. But
okay, I was gonna say, is it not a full hour? Okay,
it's a full hour.
Okay, good.
Well, frankly, every time they let us in 15 minutes earlier. So, assuming they still did the 15 minutes earlier, Could have still been a
15?
full hour, or it could have been
okay.
45 minutes, just depending.
Okay. I'm pretty
You know
sure
what I'm
Barry
saying?
Game Exchange was bragging about 15 minutes early. Like,
We got
sorry,
in
not
15
Barry. I mean
minutes.
Waterloo Game Swap, the debunked Waterloo Game Swap. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure VIP used to be like only 15 minutes early.
Oh, no. It's an hour early, but
Yeah,
what I'm
Barry is
saying
an
is,
hour, which is good.
what I'm saying, okay, so for the general public was 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Well, they let us all in at 9:45.
Yeah, that's good.
So I don't know if the VIPs went at 9 and were able to get in at 8:45. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So whatever, they either got
Whatever
in
it
an hour.
is.
It doesn't matter. They didn't benefit from their VIP badges. So it didn't matter. But then it was like, hey, Big Shot got the VIP badge.
It's just because they're so popular. That's all. They're famous.
Oh, for sure. And he's like, they upgraded me for free because they know. But so there was, like every convention, there's, you got your subsets, right? You got like your main, everybody's there mostly for the games, and of course you got like pixel art and beads and, well, there's a tabletop area, right, where they're playing, more contemporary tabletop games, whatever they are. I'm not into them, but some of them are card games, some of them are dice games, some of them are just whatever, role-playing games. And it was one of the times where me and Curtis, we had been walking around so much Friday. At that point, we were kind of bored, and it was like our feet was killing us.
Yeah.
And we kind of got roped into, like, pretty much we just took the free chairs so that we could sit down. So the guy's like, hey, so you want to sign up for our tournament? He started explaining. Like, Curtis was all pumped up. It was a wrestling-based tournament. Like, so they took all these classic wrestlers like Hulk Hogan or Randy Savage and, various people from a particular era, like early 80s to maybe
like Hacksaw, Jim Duggan.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't all of them, but Hacksaw was one of them, I believe. So, anyways, you choose it, and it really comes down to dice. I mean, essentially, it's a game of luck, almost like Monopoly. You roll the right number. It coincides with these cards. You gotta, if you do this 3, he's got to do this kind of defense, and if he does, so whatever. Explaining the game doesn't matter much, but. So he was like, yeah, we'll sign up. And I thought he was just kind of...
humoring him?
Yeah, because I was like, I don't want to do this shit. You know what I mean? But Curtis was so excited. He's like, look, man, if we're the only... Because whoever won the tournament got the game for free, right? Or the free starter deck. So he's like, yeah, man, we should, like, it'll be fun. What if it's only us? Because me and him played like a free tester game right there. They were trying to show us how it worked.
Yeah.
And I was just like, dude, this is fucking boring, but whatever. But it actually was more fun because we played like the bare minimum thing, but when we actually played in the tournament, it was more the advanced. So we used more dice and there was more strategy involved, I guess, depending on which one you decided to choose or whatever. Anyway, so we end up in this tournament. We suckered Julian in, we suckered 8-Bit Eric in, and a couple other people we didn't know who they were. So my first round opponent was 8-Bit Eric, and me and him were like very evenly matched. I mean, if that can even be a thing, but we just kept going back and forth. Like it could have went either way, and it came down to like I had to beat a 10 to kick out, and anything 10 or lower, he pinned me. But I mean, this was after playing for like 20 minutes or something, right?
Yep.
So I threw a 10, so I lost, and he advanced. And then some of the other matches were over in 2 or 3 minutes. So it was like that was the longest one. And we look over, and the other first round match was Julian and Curtis of note. I mean, there were some other people, but we don't know them, so they're just nobody. But between them two, and man, they outlasted like everybody. Like everybody was done, and we're just sitting around. And even the second round already was waiting on them. Like they already started the second round. They just kept going back and forth. It was grueling to watch. And it's funny because Curtis is all into it and animated and Julian's just like throwing the dice. You know what I mean? He's like just looking at it, and like Curtis is like, oh, and like, come on, I need to throw this. So it was definitely a contrast between enthusiastic people. Like one was super enthusiastic, one of them was just super mellow. But so anyways, Julian ended up winning. He won his next round, and then he ended up facing 8-Bit Eric in the finals.
Okay. I saw the picture on Twitter.
Yeah, so we're watching that. Man, I think it went on. It felt like 45 minutes. It might have been 30, but it felt like it lasted forever. But alas, Julian couldn't bring it home. It was a valiant effort. 8-Bit Eric ended up winning, but it was really fun. It was a cool moment, like just interesting. And you know, the YouTube guys, you know, I mean, I've seen them all at multiple conventions at this point. First time I got to meet John Riggs, though, really nice guy. I was happy to meet Riggs. Exactly what you would expect. You know what I mean? Just super friendly. You know, nothing's changed. I mean, his YouTube, in my opinion, his YouTube persona met my expectations in person.
He's a radio personality too, so I can see that being that way. That he is himself, right?
I agree. I mean, and I think he is. Even when he talks, and you know, you can just tell, like, that's just part of his personality now. Like, whether it's the chicken or the egg, I don't know which one came first.
Yeah, right. That's He might have got into radio because he had that personality, or maybe he got that personality from being in radio. Yeah. Right.
Whichever way it went, this he's got it now.
It's like Curtis, right?
Well, Curtis is a professional actor. No.
But which one came first? Right? There's some people who are just born to do it, right?
I think Curtis was born a natural actor.
See, that would be my guess.
Very smooth. I don't get any sort of insincerity when you know he's goofing around. It feels like it's completely natural to Curtis. So
yeah,
and I mean that totally in a positive way. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, I'm not saying he's phony at all. He's completely genuine. But I just mean, like, that's how genuine of an actor he is. That's probably what makes him a good actor. He's such a genuine person. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But and later that night we went to Bookman's. We don't have any in California. We don't even have any half price books, but I guess it's kind of similar to half price books, I guess. Okay. But I guess basically think of it as kind of like
in videos, but
yeah, think of it kind of like a Goodwill, but that only has books, video games. There's some toys. They have a toy section. Magazines. They're not the first one as much, but the second one we went to had like audio equipment. I saw guitars and speakers and tape decks and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool, but they're very accurate with their prices. I didn't really. To me, you would probably come up if there was a variant they didn't want aware of, or if condition. You know, they probably don't factor condition. It's probably whatever the price is. So you might go there and find something that's like in mint condition and get it at a average price type of thing.
Yep, like a loose price, like a complete in box at their loose price?
Yeah, I could see something like that. I could see them doing something like that. But I just thought the place was really fun. It was a really nice place. I could see if I was a local, I would definitely be checking them a few times a week, because
that's what I was going to say. You got to hit it regularly, right?
And if you build up a rapport with the people there, that's where it's at, because then you might be able to finesse some prices. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Because I mean, behind the one counter was just like, I was like, I want to go through that. You know what I mean? Like, because it was all the stuff that they're bringing in.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like it's basically like a pawn shop, I guess, without the pawning aspect. People bring in stuff and they buy it off them, just like your average game store would, but they're buying various things. And so it was a neat experience for sure. So I also met have you ever watched the channel his name is Tyler. I think it's Retro Gamer. Hold on. I want to get this right. Definitely is going to be my recommendation too for the channel. Sorry, I had it all written down.
Sure you did. Sure.
But I forgot that one.
Pause for edit.
Yeah, my bad. And of course, I'm not on the Wi-Fi right now, so it's slower.
Come on.
Well, I turned off the Wi-Fi so it wouldn't mess up our computer.
Oh.
You know, my phone. Here it goes. This popped up. All right, pause for. Okay, iRetro Gamer.
iRetro. Okay.
You definitely want to check out, and it's all one word. iRetro Gamer. Anyways, Tyler is such a genuine guy, right? I mean, I think it really comes off in his videos, but actually just because he came the second night and hung out with us, we drank, and well, he didn't. He's on the keto diet. He didn't want to break it any more than he already had. But he's just a very, very nice guy, very genuine. I'm really happy to have met him and spent some time with him and, chatted up with him a little bit. And but his channel is really awesome. I mean, I guess I could save it to the recommendation part.
That's fine. Mention it there too.
Yeah.
I'll include the link down there.
Yeah, I'll give you the gist of it is, and I'm sure it's going to eventually change to other things because, I mean, eventually he's going to have to when you hear kind of how the content is. But he talks about his childhood, And his dad he must have had the coolest dad ever, because his dad, I mean, I'm assuming he must have had a really nice job, because it was like the dream middle class family type of situation where, all their family events, all his family members are there, and Christmas. I mean, this kid got more games in one Christmas than I probably got in all Christmases. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And because his dad was into collecting as well. Like, he had the bug. It was like a father-son bond. I mean, and he was importing games before there was eBay and all. He's like mail-away imports and stuff. It was crazy.
Okay.
But he has all this footage because they had a camera and they recorded everything.
Oh, okay.
So, like, if he's talking about, like,
That's
let's say
pretty cool.
Mario 3, for instance, is one of his videos. It shows him when he got it for his birthday or Christmas. I forget which one. And when he's open, he's like, "Oh, Mario 3," and it's got all this.
See, I wish we
precious
had
footage.
some of that stuff when we were kids.
That's what I'm saying. Oh my God, and it's so great. You know what I mean? And they must have had whatever the top of the line equipment was at the time, because the clarity is very good on it as well. But definitely a channel to check out. But I mean, especially if you want to support it, he's a good dude. He's definitely worthy of any support you guys throw his way. And wrapping it up, Sunday we went back for a little while. Of course, Sunday is mostly a day of goodbyes and everything. We had to go at 1. We had to get back on the road. NES Complex rode back with us, and so we had to get going. But it's a little bittersweet. I kind of wish I could have spent a little more time with the Q Dogs and Julian. Really good people. I mean, I'm really bummed that we missed out on the Q Dogs. I know they were going to do it, and then we all got sidetracked. And then they did it when we left. Those dirty dogs.
See, with the one in Chicago, I felt the same way. They did it, and I was in the room, but I was like not paying attention because we were playing games in the back for the last like 5-10 minutes before we lost the convention room.
Yeah. So. Oh, I will say one more quick story about it, and I'll wrap. It'll be wrapped up. But
I don't believe you, but okay.
I know. Well,
just one.
Hey.
Just one.
So, I had bought this sign, right?
Okay, I saw that, but I don't know what it is.
Well, now you'll know. Essentially, it was probably an SNK sign that was longer, and somebody cut it. So this part, they would slide in whatever game, whatever new game they got, and over here, it probably like said SNK or whatever.
Yeah, I can see that. I can picture exactly that.
Because you can tell it probably got broke, or someone just cut it on purpose, or maybe they used the SNK part for a custom cab. And anyway, so I bought this. This was one of
or they framed the SNK side. I could see that.
That too. So this was kind of one of the only things. I only bought a couple of things Saturday, and that was one of them. And so at this point, I mean, I hate to say it because it sounds terrible, but me and Curtis were pretty bored. Like, we had walked it, and, like, I don't know. At this moment, we were kind of bored, so we started. I don't even know how it started. I mean, we were kind of goofing on. Kind of how people, I'm not naming any names in general. I'll just keep it general. But, like, you go up and talk to somebody. Let's say he's a persona on YouTube and, "Oh, hey, how are you doing?"
Is that hypothetical? Is it a hypothetical scenario?
Well, it's a real scenario. I'm not saying it happened at the convention, but there's a particular person I have in mind. They'll humor you and talk to you for a few minutes, because you're a customer, I guess, right? And then, but that's that. But it's like, but when you see somebody who walks up who has like 200,000 subs, all of a sudden it's like, "Hey, how you doing?" I don't know. It's just weird. It's like this star fucker, whatever. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's a weird phenomenon that goes on. I'm not saying it goes on with everybody, but you do see a lot of big timing happening, right?
Okay.
Like, the bigger person's there, and all of a sudden it's like, "Hey, where'd they go?" You know what I mean? Oh, they're over there with the cool kids now. But so it kind of started off like that a little bit, and we were goofing around with the sign. Like, Curtis was sticking in front of his face, and then it started. It morphed into us riffing back and forth, and it kind of morphed into like, "This is our new channel now featuring. We don't have no content. We don't have no subs. We're sub to over 500,000 subscribers, and we're sub to 500,000 channels, and we want to take a picture with you." And then when we were at the YouTube row, there was an open booth, like someone didn't show up or whatever. So he's like, "Why don't we just post up over there and put all our stuff out?" And then when people come up, he starts telling them, "Hey, look what I bought." Like, he's not selling it. He's like,
Oh
hey,
my
look what I
God.
got. And we were recording it, and some of these people's reactions were hilarious. And I don't want to spoil any of it because I know he's going to chop it up and put it in a video. But yeah, it was pretty funny. And then
funny.
It was crazy because where time was moving slow because we had to get to this 4 o'clock tournament, right? We were kind of waiting for that. And then after that, we were going to probably go eat or something. So we're waiting for this tournament to start. So time was like inching by. And then all of a sudden we came up with this idea. And now it's like, oh shit, man, wish we'd have thought of this 2 hours ago. This was fun. You know what I mean? Like,
I actually like the idea of a channel that's like literally just interviewing or profiling people with now featuring and then the celebrity name or the YouTuber's name. It
right,
actually reminds me of there's a YouTube channel called What's in Your Game Room.
Okay.
And
they go to other people's game rooms?
Yeah, they go around and check out people's game rooms. Like they do the gaming historian interview with him, JKB. Who else do they have? A lot of them, they actually go in their room. There's a guy that owns a local game store here in town, Mike. But who else did they see? I thought they saw some other popular game rooms. They did Barry Game Exchange. Anyway, I'm getting way off topic. But.
No, that is the topic. That's the point. We get off topic.
Some toy stores they went through too. I swore they did actual game rooms. Maybe I'm thinking of another channel. Or they remove videos. But anyway, continue.
Right. No. Now I'm thinking about it. I probably should go on YouTube and see if that name has been taken.
Now
just
featuring?
Fucking take it just in case we actually decide to do something with it. But it was a funny idea. And I thought, man, this could work in some way. Friendly troll people. You know what I mean? Like, because it was funny because you'll see people's face like when they're walking by because like Billy and Jay was next to it. Like we were sandwiched between the Game Chaser crew, the MJR crew, and on the other side of that was Pat and Ian, and on the other side of that was the Completionist. And then on the other side of Billy and Jay was this iRetro gamer, Tyler. So here you got all these legit people in the YouTube community, right?
Yeah.
You got all these legit people, and then you got like us sitting there, and so they're like, you know, like you can see their facial expressions, like, oh, hey, there's Billy and Jay. Oh, there's the Completionist, and it's like, oh, there's. I don't know who that is. Right?
And then now featuring.
Curtis is like, hey, come here. Check out my stuff. You having a good time? Look
the
what
YouTube
I bought.
channel name is not taken.
Why don't you take it for me real quick?
I have to create an email address.
Okay. Well, we'll create an email address. You're quick. I don't care what it is. Nowfeaturing.com.org, whatever. Anyway, so it was just great reactions from people, and man, I wish we could have done it longer because we probably only got about 4 or 5 people on camera, but it was great, and what made it even better was his stuff wasn't that great because it wasn't like the best stuff he had picked up, but it was mostly just those universal cases. He had found someone who had a bunch of cases that already had the games printed that he needed for Super Nintendo.
Okay.
So they're like, one of them's Hagane. So you see them pick it up thinking, oh, the Hagane's in here. And it's like, it's empty. You know what I mean? Like, they're all empty. You know what I mean? So it's like, oh, good job, dude. What a great find. Like, it was so lame, but it was funny.
I'm trying to fill out a user account for you.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you. Well, I'd hate for someone to steal our stupid idea. Then I'd feel like we could have done something with it.
Curtis takes long enough to edit a video as it is, doesn't he?
Yeah, but listen, there was people there listening because, one funny thing was, so when we're sitting there kind of doing this stuff, someone comes and hits me on the arm, and I was like, oh shit, I hope that's that Gamester. Like, what are you guys doing? You know what I mean? Because like we didn't pay for the table.
Yeah.
And so I turn around, it's Ian, and he's like, what the fuck are you doing? But like friend, because me and him are friends, so it was like
I don't know.
Like he has this amused, confused look. Ian Ferguson from the CU podcast.
Yeah, okay.
So he's like, him. What the fuck are you doing? And so I broke down the concept of our channel, but I kept it in character. It's like, we're a new YouTube channel. Because, of course, we had the thing, the plate right there.
But you never said this is a joke.
Oh, he knew. Ian's quick.
Oh, okay.
Other people we didn't. I didn't tell nothing. Other people thinks that we're just weirdos, or think Curtis is a weirdo because I didn't say as much as Curtis. So
I mean, they're not wrong.
well, they're not wrong, but we're delusional weirdos, which they might not be wrong about that either. I don't know. But the funny thing is when you really break it down, maybe other than Gerard, Curtis's commercials have been seen more than all of their stuff combined. So he's actually the real legit star there. I mean, in that regards, you know what I'm saying? Like, you actually want to talk about eyeballs. His Transformer Optimus Prime Burger King commercial had to be seen by hundreds of millions. I mean, well, maybe not hundreds, but I would say 50 million. I think 50 million would be an accurate guess, and probably more than that. I mean, that thing ran for a while. That was during the crossover between the Transformer movie and Optimus Prime. And Burger King. So I'm just saying, he's actually legitimate. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Well, not that they're illegitimate. You get what I mean? Mainstream media or whatever, I guess. Original media, or traditional media. Traditional. But these people are just like, who are these weirdos? But they didn't say it. And then of course, we got a couple of people who were maybe a little bit on this. I don't want to say that. It probably sounds insensitive, but they were different. Let's just say that. And they looked told, it was great. It was gold. It was gold. Okay. You know what I mean? But we should have started it up a lot sooner. But anyway, you went to Chicago.
I did. I went to Chicago. In Chicago, there was the first Chicago Cartridge Con, which is like the first convention of the Cartridge Club, which might be renamed to Cartridge Club Convention, which is still C3, so that we can do it somewhere else next year if we do, just to make it easier for everyone else, like other people, know how to travel.
It's funny, when you guys first started saying that name, I was thinking it was actually a gaming convention and that you guys were all meeting up at. And so I was like Googling it. I'm like, what's this C3? I've never heard of it because, it's like E3. It was very clever marketing.
I know. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous how that organically worked out because someone said C3 around the time of E3.
And it was so perfect because it sounded legitimate. I'm like, so what video game convention is that?
Now it's legitimate.
Right, exactly. And it's a traveling one, what I mean, wherever you guys all meet up.
As long as if they do plan to move it next year, I think it's still kind of up in the air whether we're going to or not. But basically just an excuse for Cartridge Club people to get together, meet up, and then we did live podcasts on Saturday. So summary of events. I mean, Friday is when my wife and I arrived there, but everybody kind of arrived at different days. Like Miles and Catherine arrived the week before, so they could do all the touristy stuff first. But anyway, we arrived on the Friday. We went to Luminati's. Anyway, sounds like Illuminati, but it's a pizza place, deep dish Chicago pizza. Pretty good. And also,
people just kind of call it Lou's or something.
Yeah, we did call it Lou's a lot. I just thought if anyone wants to actually know where it is,
that's how it's referred to, by people who go. I think so because it's a pretty famous deep dish pizza. Like they even mail it. Like I can actually buy a pizza and they'll mail it to me. Okay. Overnight at like $50 or something.
Lou's.
Like that.
We'll just call it Lou's. Anyway, went there, had pizza, hung out at the club. Just awesome. Had a huge area. Melissa, Mrs. Q Dog, basically organized that whole thing. Otherwise, we would have gone there and they would have said, sorry, we can't seat 30 people together. Right. It was actually about 35 people once everybody came. It might even be more at the peak because there were people who showed up that we weren't sure if they were going to show up, like Brazel the Gamer and Tesseract Unfolded was another guy who I don't know if he was definitely going to come originally or not, but... and then after Lou's, we kind of went to just a video game store. A bunch of us went to, not everybody. We found on Google Maps on the way home or back to the hotel called Video Games Now and Then. It was a pretty solid game store. A lot of people picked up some things from there. I got Mad Dog McCree collection for Wii from there for a decent price, which the game turns out kind of sucks. But that's okay. I can resell it. That's all that matters. I didn't want to regret not buying it. So then we went back to the hotel and just hung out for the night, and everybody kind of traded games. I made a video for it on my other channel, my own YouTube channel, DEGE13. Just fun. I did like a time-lapse video of that whole thing. Fun just hanging out with everybody. Like you said, wish there was more time to hang out. Saturday, my wife and I went to Dunkin' Donuts for breakfast because I've only ever been to Dunkin' Donuts one time before this in my life, and I forget where that was. Sometime when I went to the States as a family, me and my dad went. And then we went to Target because Target is not in Canada anymore, so my wife and I went shopping at Target. Then we went back to the hotel for live podcast records, and I can't remember which ones it was now. Flock of Nerds and... Now I'm going to feel like an idiot because I can't remember, but doesn't matter. Live podcasts for Cartridge Con, basically.
Well, I know they did one, and also, I don't know if it was within...
Yeah, so there's 4 podcast records.
Right, because
2
also...
in the morning, 2 in the afternoon.
STC, right, they did kind of...
Yeah, it was like Bill with
Musty.
Kevin, so STC and...
Fandango
Retro Fandango, yeah. And then Flock of Nerds did theirs, and... Musty was on Polykill with James and Travis, and then there was also Masters of Unlocking did one as well. Did I did 4 now, or is that 3?
Close.
That was 4. Anyway, then my wife and I just went for lunch and headed over to Goodwill, which was just down the street.
Yeah, I heard you kind of ducked out on them.
Did you hear that?
Well, that's kind of, it felt like that. I felt somebody was like, thanks for the invite or whatever.
Oh, that was Bill. Bill did that. He tweeted that. Yeah. We were just, we didn't have a whole lot of time, so we just went because we didn't want to rely on anybody else. And we were also, my wife and I had no way to get around without Bass Guy. He was there, so he was kind of our ride everywhere, and we didn't want to bug him to just drive us down the street. And also the Target, we hitched a ride with James Retropixel. He was kind enough to take us there. He said in Twitter that he was heading there with his wife, and I messaged him, and like about 15 minutes later, he's like, I'm already there, but I'll come back and get you. I'm like, you don't need to do that. But he came back and got us, and we all went kind of shopping at Target. Not really together. They went off and did their own thing. We did our own thing.
But it's
Wives,
nice,
right?
Right, but it's nice when someone...
oh, for sure. That was above and beyond for him.
Right, because, I mean, man, like, when you're in a foreign place, I mean, you can Uber, you can all that, but all these little things start adding up. But when it's like a local or someone who's been there can help you out, like, man, it makes such a big difference.
Yeah, so with Chris, the Bass Guy, he was driving us around because he'd got a rental car. And also, he's American, so at least he knows miles per hour, for example, let alone all the laws, just in case there's something I thought there was a law or wasn't a law and it was, or you never know. And I just didn't want to have to deal with insurance because does my insurance transfer over to a rental car or not? All that crap. So anyway, I basically paid him in the end for basically Ubering us around everywhere. Helped him pay for his rental, but James just did it as kind of his heart. Then we went back
James
to live.
Is a better guy, obviously.
So then, Chris didn't ask us for any, like he said, if you don't mind chipping in, and I said, I'll pay. I calculated it out at the end of the weekend and said, I'll just pay you what I would have paid an Uber, because I'd rather the money go to you and help pay for your rental.
That's great. It works out for everybody.
Yeah, and I was able to use PayPal money to pay him too, so that helps too.
And that's always a win, and that actually helped me a few times at the convention is, you run out of cash, but it's like, everybody there has PayPal for the most part.
Well, and I had PayPal money built up because of selling crap on eBay. So.
Yep.
So then we went back to more live podcasts. That was the other 2. Then we went to Gordano's, which was another deep dish Chicago style pizza place. Right. And
are they the rivals? I think. Maybe.
I think so. I think you're right.
Like I think if you're either one or the other. It's almost like. White Sox or Cubs or something.
We did that. We did Eric did a survey afterward to see who preferred what, and Gordano's won. And I agree, that was the better pizza to me.
Okay, so what kind of? I mean, I know you got deep dish, but what was your toppings? What was it?
I don't even remember.
You don't have a go-to, or you just?
Oh, I would if I'm making a pizza here, like if I'm ordering pizza from somewhere, I get pepperoni, ham, bacon. That's my pizza.
Ham and bacon?
Yeah, man. The more pig, the better.
All right.
But the options there were just, some kind of things that they do their way.
Why not get sausage too?
Because I don't like sausage. No.
I don't like sausage either. Oh, well, I like. Sausage.
I do like some sausages, but on pizza, I find Italian sausages overpowering.
It's hit and miss too, because sometimes
for sure.
The sausage is really good, and sometimes it's garbage, and they put so much of it on there.
Yeah. So at Lou's, I found there was too much sausage, and it was like deep inside the pizza, like near the
You're not
bottom.
getting that out. Yeah.
I did, but it was not fun. And there was also giant tomato chunks on top, which I'm not a huge fan of at Lou's. Godano's we had got a wider variety of pizzas. I think it was just having to do with the order options with having such a big group. But Godano's had a chicken barbecue pizza that was pretty damn good too, that I had a slice of. But I can't remember what the other one was. It was just some kind of pepperoni sausage something or other. So after Godano's, we went to Galloping Ghosts Arcade, which was pretty awesome.
Most famous arcade I know of.
It was such a busy day that my wife and I were exhausted there. I literally could have stayed there for hours and hours.
So you and your wife actually do pretty well. I saw you completed a couple games together.
Yeah, so we started playing, we just played random games here and there, but then I came across Sunset Riders and I said, look, I've heard this game is good. Let's try it out. And then we get playing and I'm like, oh yeah, this is like a Contra, basically like Cowboys Contra. Right. Pretty much. Bright colors, 4-player. I mean, we only had the 2 of us, but we could have called somebody else over. But we beat it while we were there. I mean, it's unlimited continues, so it's not that hard.
Well, you don't have to no death run it to be satisfied.
Yeah, we didn't. We died lots, but we had fun.
We saw the ending though, so that's cool.
Yeah, we saw the ending. We had fun. Put the time in, and then Musty came over while we were playing that and said, "Hey, did you know there's a Sailor Moon arcade in the back?" My wife loves Sailor Moon. And during the last charity stream, we played Sailor Moon on my modded Xbox, the arcade, the MAME arcade game, right. Which was the same game. And we beat it then on the stream. So I figured, why not? Let's go over and beat it. So we were like so exhausted. And of course, they're all stand-up arcades and it was getting late. Yep. We beat it anyway, though. So it was about 45 minutes to beat that. I don't know how long it was at the arcade, but when we beat it here at home, I think it was around 45 minutes. So that's the 3rd time we've beat it now.
Right on.
Yeah. And we played lots of arcade games that I've never even seen in my entire life, and saw lots of games I've never seen in my entire life. There were more I wish I could have played. Like everybody kept saying the what's it called? Wipeout arcade game, I believe they said was really good. Like you sit in it and it tilts and stuff.
Yeah.
Everyone kept saying that was good. Right as we were leaving, Musty's like, "You got to try that." I'm like, "We're leaving." It was a 45-minute drive back to the hotel, and it was already like 11:30 at night or something. 10:30 or 11:30 at that point. And then Bill had to stop and get White Castle on the way back. I didn't have any.
Yeah, but, that's the thing is, I never heard White Castle was great. I heard that it was cheap. The whole idea is back in the day, you used to get those little sliders. You can get like a whole bag for like $5. Yeah. It's basically drunk food. It's not good food.
That's what someone else was saying is you need to get drunk first. Someone else said that on Twitter afterward. Like, you need to get drunk first.
Taco Bell's the greatest Mexican food you ever had. When you're sober, it's garbage. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And then, so we went back to the hotel and hung out again. Just awesome times hanging out with everybody. I mean, that was the day most people were leaving the next day. Maybe about half or so. It might have actually been, no, it was half. Because of the Hodge and Bill and all them, and Kevin and J-Rock all drove up from Ontario, the same place we came from, basically.
Yeah.
But they had the adventure of going on the way together, and it took them a lot longer. So, yeah, that was fun hanging out. And the next day, Sunday, Base Guy was our chauffeur again, and we went to Unique, which is a thrift store, basically the same as a Savers or Value Village. I think it's actually owned by the same company. And then we went all together, whoever was left, we all went to Half Price Books. Wasn't bad, but their prices, they know what they're pricing things at. Everything was basically full retail prices.
I started getting that vibe that...
I did find 2 things that were like, okay, this would be a good deal, but I got to take it home, and I don't want to deal with it. And one of them wasn't in an original Xbox case, and another one had a scratched disc, and why is that even on the shelf? But it was not great, so... but some people had success there, and they also sold used books and used records there. And if I wasn't flying back, I would have looked at the records and tried to find something. I'm sure I could have found some records there. They also had comic books. They had some that were like in a glass case or like a plexiglass locked box. It was weird, really weird, with a slot in the top for you to flip through them. Mm-hmm. Never seen that before anywhere.
It sounds smart, though.
It does.
Backing the stuff up. Yeah,
right?
That sounds like a great idea.
So then after Half Price Books, we went to Culver's, which is like, I don't know how to describe it. It's a Wisconsin chain. But one of the things that everybody was telling us was one of the things they have that's good is deep fried, oh my God, cheese curds.
Okay.
So my wife and I got deep fried cheese curds, and apparently they're, what kind of, not ice cream, but custard, frozen custard.
Yeah.
Was another thing. So I think we got, did we even get ice cream? No, we got a milkshake. Apparently they have good milkshakes and malts, which is like a milkshake but with malt flavoring. So we got a malt shake, which was good. It didn't taste that much different from a milkshake, but it was a good milkshake. And we got the deep fried cheese curds, which were really good. It was like basically like cheese sticks, but I think they were cheddar instead of mozzarella and stuff. But yeah, that was delicious. And yeah, eating was a big deal there. Everybody wanted to eat all the time, and I'm just like, I just wanted to eat cheap while I was here.
Yeah, to me, that's kind of the thing. It depends on, well, obviously, like how much money you have to spend, but I'm very thrifty when it comes to food and stuff when I'm in that environment, because it's like, well, shit, I could have just got a burger for $2. Yeah, it's not going to be a satisfying meal, but I'll be full.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So,
or I could go buy a $30 dinner. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, actually, we got really lucky with the food too. Melissa figured it all out, and it ended up being like $11 a person, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, that's nice
for Lou's and Gordano's. Yeah. That's ridiculously cheap. Yeah. So after Culver's, then again, Chris chauffeured us around, and we had who do we have in the car? Scott, VG Collectaholic, me, Cynthia, and was that it? I thought there was somebody else. Anyway, we went to GameStop and checked out a GameStop because I've never been to an American GameStop. I mean, EB Games is basically the same, so it's basically the same stuff. But we did pick up several things that were on clearance. I picked up a Xbox 360 remote for $2.99. I like having not the controller, but the DVD remote. Yeah, those are convenient as hell to have, and it's also a smaller one than I have already. Plus, my brother-in-law needs one, so he might be getting one for Christmas. And Cynthia picked up.
Hopefully, he doesn't listen.
No, he doesn't listen. He doesn't even know what podcasts are. This is Tony of Two Dorks, so he doesn't know what podcasts are. Okay. Yeah, and then we picked up some toys for the kids that they wanted from the half-price books. It was pretty cool. They had the Zelda blind bags, and they were like buy 3 get 1 free, and they were on clearance, and it's stacked. You could do both deals. Wow. So they were like, in half-price books, they were like $6.99 for these things, or $5.99. And we walk into EB Games just a couple hours later, and there they are for like $2, $1.99 each.
GameStop, right?
Yeah, sorry, GameStop.
No,
yeah,
it's okay.
GameStop.
I want to make sure everybody's listening knows that you're still in America when you're doing this.
Yeah, GameStop.
We don't have no more EVs.
And then it got even cheaper because Scott let us use his Edge card.
Damn,
and he's got some like top end.
Man, you're really gouging them.
I can't remember what else we bought. We bought some other crap there, but it was cool. And then we went to Dollar Tree.
Business, you know why? Guys like Derek.
Yeah, exactly.
King deals, not just taking the regular deal. He's got to maximize it.
Yeah, for sure. They go out of business, it's their own fault. They can make money. They can gouge everybody else. Trade in your new games.
Yeah.
We'll give you 65 cents for that brand new game. So after that, we went to Dollar Tree. My wife wanted to check out a American Dollar Tree because she likes watching YouTubers that go to Dollar Tree, and a lot of them are American, and she sees what stuff they have that's different. So we went and checked it out, and she bought a bunch of stuff, and it was nothing for me, I don't think, but
it's
that was fun.
Household and candy and stuff with Dollar Tree.
And none of the chips were good. I was disappointed. I remembered the Dollar Trees we have here, the chips are shit too. They're like, they have their own off-brand, and other than that, there's like nothing else.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the Dollar Tree brand, first off, it's misleading because you think you're going to go in there and everything's going to be $1.
Yeah,
not quite the case.
And we're used to that here. That's not a big deal.
And then there's one that's even worse. That's Family Dollar. You go into Family Dollar, there's nothing that is $1. Even things that should be $1, it's like, nope, $1.07 or something like, wait a minute, what?
If we had our own vehicle, we would have gone to way more dollar stores and thrift stores. But between not having enough time because of everything we were doing and hanging out with being so much fun, we just didn't have time to do that. Plus, we didn't want to ask Chris to drive us everywhere.
Well, I mean, the main goal obviously was the community aspect.
Exactly, yeah. It also would have been nice to go to more game stores, but they were just so spread out.
Yeah.
It just wasn't convenient, and it wasn't worth the time it would have taken to drive there, sorry.
Makes sense.
So after Dollar Tree, we went back to the hotel and hung out, and like I said, a lot of people left on Sunday, so it was like, I can't remember who all for sure, but the Q Dogs were there and the Retro Nonsense crew were all there, so it was still a lot of fun. Musty was still there. I can't remember. Scott was still there. And of course, Chris, bass guy. So anyway, hung out again that night. I think we played some Switch before we went to all those places. I don't remember. Anyway, Q Dogs left that day, actually. They had to go back to their in-laws. And then Monday, my wife and I just left first thing in the morning, 7 a.m., and we did our first Uber ride ever.
Was it all you thought it was going to be?
The guy was really nice. The car was really clean. I mean, it couldn't have been any better. The drive was also convenient too.
I've never had a bad experience with Uber.
He said it was no traffic at all. He's like, this is a really unusually smooth drive.
Yeah. I mean, there's a competitor. I don't know if you've heard of Lyft.
Yep.
Kind of like, I've never used Lyft. I know people who use either or.
I had the app for both installed.
I rode in a Lyft. I didn't actually pay.
Okay.
I was just riding with someone else. But either one, I've never had any issues. But I mean, I know there has been for people, but I mean, that's just kind of way anything is. But I couldn't imagine going back to a taxi. You know what I mean? Like, unless you're just in a city.
I haven't been to in a taxi since 2006, maybe.
I usually will use a taxi in Vegas because the taxis are right outside of the casino. And if I'm burnt out, and I don't feel like, I don't know, trying to hustle a ride up or something, I'll just jump in a taxi real quick. I would imagine, when I was in New York, I used a lot of taxis, but that was before Uber even existed. So I don't know how that's changed. When we went to DC, we used Uber. I mean, it was just convenient, but we did, it was ironic. So, me and my, the girl I was dating at the time, we were taking a taxi and we were going to go to Arlington Cemetery. I know this is a sidebar, but I'll make it quick. So we used a taxi, and so the guy was very strong odor, I would say.
Okay.
And so we get in a cab, so right off the bat it's like, damn, he's not using air conditioning, because like the other cabs we had were all really good. And so then he has like this manic outrage, road rage incident with somebody, I don't know, in his mind.
Okay, wrong.
Somehow slighted him somehow. And it was like, dude, that's just traffic. And so he was going to get out of the car. You know what I mean? Like, he stopped, he started opening the door, and I'm like, hey, I just like, get back in the car. You know what I mean? Like, be professional.
And you're driving us, and we want to get there, not get put in the hospital.
Shot. I don't want to get shot. You know what I mean? It's like, that guy looked like he could whoop your ass. I'm saving your life right now. Stay in the car. But I was just saying, I got really mad. I'm like, hey, like real aggressive. Oh, like he snapped him out of his.
He put him back into customer service mode, right?
Right. Like you could tell he totally got caught in this road rage moment. Jesus. And I'm like,
don't you drive in this every day? You should be used to it.
And it was so stupid, because all it was like the guy honked at him or something, and it became like a fuck you situation. It's like, dude, grow up. You know what I mean? Let it go. But yeah, needless to say, when we got to the cemetery, it was just like, yeah, I hope I never see that fucking guy again.
Yeah.
But the flip side of it is we took a Uber to I wanted to see the Pentagon. I didn't really want to go to the Pentagon. I just wanted to drive by the Pentagon, right? So we got an Uber. It's like, yeah, we want to go to the Pentagon. He's like, well, where? It's like, just drive by it and turn around and drive us back.
Yeah.
Okay, that's no problem. But he was a little unsure of it. And when we got there, I kind of understood why. At the time, it didn't make sense, because I figured there was a freeway that can kind of go right past it. In reality, it was more like an off-ramp that takes you to the Pentagon. But I still figured,
kind of like an off ramp to an airport. Like, it goes there and that's it.
Yeah, well, you can get out of it, but I mean, you have to do it the proper way, and he didn't. And I felt so bad, because so we get to this it was like a T intersection, kind of a three-way stop, right? Yep. So you can go right, and you're gonna go right into a checkpoint, Like there's dudes, serious dudes that mean serious business.
Yeah.
And we already saw the Pentagon. Like we already looked at it. I mean,
we're done.
I don't need to get any closer. This was good enough. It looked great. And it was after hours. It was like 11:30 at night.
Oh my God. I mean? Right when those guys are like, what the fuck is this car doing? Do not come over here. Do not come over here, buddy.
Well, no, it's quite the opposite. Once we were there, so I just told him, well, go ahead, just turn around and just take us out of here. I actually, I mean, I was in the driver's seat, so I didn't see the sign that said no left turns.
Oh.
And he went ahead and did it. He did what I told him to do. So within seconds, bro, I mean, it was not even a minute. We had a cop on us with a gun out. What are you doing?
Wow.
So I'm trying to like diffuse the situation a little bit because I'm feeling like terrible for this guy. It's like he's gonna get a ticket, and
or worse,
I'm the one that kind of like told him to do it. I mean, I wasn't being a dick about it. He could have said no, like
yeah. If he saw the sign, yeah.
Right, I didn't see it, and I don't think he saw it either, to be honest. But so this cop is just like, what are you doing? You don't know what you're doing. Like, I mean, he was very aggressive. So I was recording and I actually have the video somewhere. So
I want to see that.
Right. So I was trying to like, hey officer, if I can have a second, and, I kind of feel bad because I think I confused him. I asked him to go ahead and turn, and he did. And he goes, no, Uber drivers are idiots. This guy should know better. And I was like, okay, I'm going to be quiet now.
Right, I'm done.
Yeah. But he didn't give him the ticket. But now the guy's on file there. He goes, you're going to be on a file because it was Secret Service. It wasn't just a regular police officer. It was like, but he was in like a police officer outfit, but it was like the Pentagon. Well, actually, it wasn't Secret Service. It was the Pentagon police. And he wasn't fucking around. You know what I mean? He was like, yeah, you're going in a file. And that guy's just like, you could see him shaking. I was like, yeah, we tipped him good. I was just like, I'm really sorry, man. Like, no, it's okay. But I was like, oh, I feel so bad. And, the thing is I don't know if he was Middle Eastern, but he kind of had that vibe about him. So I imagine it was even more heightened. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Maybe he's been in scenarios where he's worried he's going to be profiled for his race. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yep. Like now it's like he's not a terrorist. He's just a guy trying to make a dollar here. You know what I mean? So I was like, oh my God, I feel so bad.
Yeah.
But anyway,
our driver was Filipino, and he was talking about his transition to moving to the States and how difficult it is to get a job. He has a disability, and it was just interesting talking to him. I started asking us about Canada and how's Canada and how do you find jobs there, and like how is it and stuff. It was a neat conversation. Yeah. Like I said, I've never been in an Uber. That's just because I've never needed one. I had the app installed like 2 years ago or 3 years ago when they came out and just never needed it. So I kind of just reinstalled it, and again, they take PayPal, so that was convenient as hell, right?
That's the other thing. That's why I love Uber. It goes right through PayPal.
Yeah. Yep.
You don't have to, I mean, I'm sure you can use other alternatives. Yep. But for me, once I saw PayPal as an option, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll be using this a lot when I need to get around. And because, when I do for my job, like sometimes I'll take people to other cities, and I could drive the bus wherever I want, but sometimes it's just really inconvenient because it's like, I know where I want to go. There ain't no place I'm going to park that. Or will you get a great parking place? You don't want to give it up. So I'll just Uber, I'm like, fuck it. I'll just consider it part of me being a tourist in this town. You know what I mean? I'll Uber over here and extra $5 here and extra $5 there, whatever. And, sometimes I'll get a coworker to go with me. So let's split the Uber or whatever. And it's fun, I use it all the time. I can see why it caught on. Because, when you first heard about it, it's like, you're going to get in some stranger's car and they're going to drive you around. Like, what?
Yeah.
But it's really smart.
It's almost no worse than a taxi. In fact, it's actually more comfortable than a taxi because there's not the, barrier or whatever else. Or I mean, I've never had that in a taxi that I've driven in, but maybe Toronto, I can't remember. But, like, it's just a more relaxed environment. It's more like you're a friend getting a ride.
Right. I would say the cautionary aspect of it is how the barrier they had to break down would be like, well, you're getting in a stranger's car, whereas when you're getting in a taxi, granted, there's still a stranger's car, but there's a company that's telling you,
yep.
Hey, this is Jim's cab company. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you have
there's a name behind it and someone's accountable. Yeah.
Yeah, you would assume that, whereas anybody could, for the most part, be a Uber driver as long as your license is in good standing, your car is within a certain time frame, it has you know what I mean?
Yeah. And then it comes down to reviews for that person and stuff, but
and insurance, right? Yeah. So it's, I mean, They don't. I don't know. I know. I'm assuming their background checks are a little more intense as they were, but I don't know. You know.
Yep.
I don't know that, but anyway.
Either
but
way.
I do want to say one thing about when you guys went to that game store. This is what Duke got me.
Oh yeah.
Blurry. Yeah. Duke's such a nice dude, man, and I feel so bad because I was gonna pick him up something at the convention and I forgot. But Duke,
you're
I
terrible.
still have
You're
something else
terrible.
well, I got something else for him prior to that, so it's kind of the same thing, I guess.
Yeah.
You
just want to keep repaying each other back over and over and over. It's an endless cycle. You never feel like you're even with them. You just want to keep giving them stuff.
I like that, though.
It's like Eric.
I like making people in my debt. You know what I mean?
That's true. And when they have the thing and you want it, yeah.
Yep, you owe me. Nah. Duke's
funny.
really cool, man.
No,
And
I wish. I actually feel like.
in.
Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
The last record, I forgot to even mention that I was going to be in his Star Wars Back to the '80s video.
Oh, yeah. I figured it was just kind of a surprise, right?
Well, I think that's why I didn't say it. I can't remember which was released first. I don't know. I don't remember. So
yeah, either way,
maybe that
matter.
was it.
It was cool to see.
Yeah, it was definitely a surprise, and I was actually, very, flattered that he would even ask him. He's such a nice guy. And I love the series. I'm like, well, damn, I'm not going to really be able to watch this episode because I don't really do that, But I ended up watching it, and I enjoyed the way
you weren't in it a lot, right?
No, not at all. But
to the point where you'd see in yourself would make you not want to watch the whole thing, is what I mean. Because I can relate to that.
Not knowing where it's at, and I don't know. And it's like I'll never listen to this podcast. No offense, but I just never will. Like when you tell me, like, hey, there's like earlier before when we were talking prior to starting, you said something about where the commercial breaks. I was like, frankly, I don't know anything about them. You know what I mean? Like, I've never heard them. So.
Jesus. I listen, but I usually do it on quality control. Like I want to make sure I'm releasing something that's good.
Right. You want to make sure it sounds polished. I totally understand why you listen.
Or that I didn't miss anything. Yeah.
I just rely that you do good. You know what I mean? I trust you. I'm sure it's fine.
You're a fool. You're a fool for trusting me.
Yeah, I know you edit it, or I look like a complete ass.
Yeah,
I
ass. That's all. I just edit it out, so you just say I am ass, right?
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Well, I know you could do it.
I could do it. I won't do it. Maybe at the end.
Isolate the words or whatever.
Yeah. All right. We are like over an hour, maybe an hour and a half into this already, and we have not even talked about anything from the actual outline yet. I don't know if you actually want to dive into everything like normal.
Well, why don't we just maybe do some brief pickups and recs?
It's funny because I actually am prepared for this episode. I have everything written out.
Oh, I feel bad because I haven't read your outline.
All right, well, let's just blow through this. How about that?
Okay, go ahead.
So last noteworthy pickup, deal, purchase, sale, etc. You're first if you have anything, or if you want me to start, I can go ahead and give you some time.
My last pickup, I guess, would basically be the stuff I bought at the convention.
Is that all behind
I'll just
you?
Say what? Huh?
Is it all behind you?
Yeah, I try to kind of put stuff. I got this cool like Contraforce manual from Jay from the Game Chasers. Like, I mean, he was so cool. He separated it and he had it with the cart.
Sign it for you.
$30. I mean, this thing is mint, and if you really knew what it goes for, it was definitely a bro price.
I think you've also said I think manuals are generally underpriced. People that have them, unless they're a retail store or a vendor's convention, they just want them gone.
Yeah.
I find that. I think that anyway.
No, I agree with you.
Okay.
Most times they're usually $5 or less, but when they're premium manuals, people aren't stupid either.
I can see that, yeah.
And so I knocked off like 6 carts on my Nintendo 64 set, so I'm down to 34. But I guess like it wasn't really that pricey because he really did a good job. Like he lowered it to 30, and it normally goes for probably about 50. The StarCraft, but the label's not so good, and I got it for 25 because he's like, I really lowered it for the condition. I was like, can you lower it $5 more? And he's like,
you're never done negotiating, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're never done, man. You can't be. I mean, what's he gonna say? No? If he says no, fine.
Then you still pay him the 30. It's fine, as long as someone else doesn't swipe in and buy it.
Well, I just figured, why not? But anyway, so other stuff is like manuals, some games. I got
I see what's in your hand. I was going to mention that earlier when you were talking about
I got a. Oh yeah. The only one I bought this. Me and Curtis We did a bundle deal. He got I believe it was like the 8-bit Link.
Okay.
And I got Luigi. I didn't have it. And this little bastard shot up. This was one of the ones that were always at the store, like every
really?
Walmart.
And
now it's like $25 loose now. People are trying to get for.
Is there a reason?
Because Odyssey.
Oh, it does something in it or not?
Oh yeah, all of them do. Any Mario character does something in Odyssey, and I mean some of them do better stuff. You know what I mean?
Speaking of pickups, I picked up the Mario cereal with the amiibo when I was in the States.
Good job.
Yeah, it was at the Target we went to. I didn't expect to see it.
Did you get the new one or the old one?
The old one, apparently.
The old one with the amiibo?
Yeah.
That's awesome, dude.
It's way back there behind me.
I've still never seen the new one.
You can actually see it in the video.
I can see it. It's right over there.
Yeah, way back there on top of my controller case. Yeah.
Well, and just one more thing. So we were standing there at this one booth. We had circled this booth several times. Matter of fact, that's actually where we got the amiibos. This guy had a box on the ground, and I noticed just a piece of. So the U-Force is this kind of like janky controller.
I've never heard of it, I don't think, until your picture.
Well, it was featured in an ABGN video. I mean, it wasn't the main thing he talked about. He was going over accessories, and that was one of them. But I just saw like a piece of it, right?
Oh, okay.
And I figured it was broke. I mean, I didn't realize they actually come apart. I mean, I don't know why I didn't realize that because I already owned that. But so I was like, when I saw it, I was like, hey, do you have the sensor bar? And he goes, I don't know what's in that box. Just start digging. Because that was the only thing I was missing. Because I have the U-Force and it works. I've tested it. And, I had the flight stick. You know what I mean? So I already had all that. But I didn't have the sensor bar. And what makes the sensor bar relevant is it's for Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. Okay. So you put it there and like you could punch at it and the character will it's like
ultrasonic sensor for distance.
Yeah, like you go like this.
Yeah,
and the character punches. I mean, essentially it was the Wiimote before the Wiimote in a way. I mean, it's a very similar technology.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? I'm
so
sure
it's either infrared or it's ultrasonic. It's probably infrared.
Probably infrared. If I had to guess, I would guess it's infrared. But you have to have this little sensor bar here that kind of fastens into it for whatever reason. If you don't have, and it's even funny because when you read it, like
I know I read it in your picture. It says for Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. Yeah,
it's just for Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. But then it also says and future games.
Oh, okay. Never.
I don't think any future.
Well, just regular Punch-Out without Mike Tyson.
Yeah, exactly. And the future Punch-Out, right? So I'm digging through the bar. I'm like, no fucking way, and it was in there. And then so I was like, what do you want for this? And he's just like, I don't know, make me an offer. And
did you show your excitement or not?
Or
did you hold it back a little bit?
The fact is, I asked him if it was there, and he
said,
and so I mean, of course.
But did you ask him like I heard you ask him? Were you like, do you have the sensor bar? Like, were you excited or like?
It wasn't like that. I was just when I saw that piece, I was like, hey, do you have the sensor bar? Just matter of fact. I mean, I wasn't like, oh my god, but
you're not showing your cards, is what I was curious.
I don't think there was cards shown, but it doesn't matter. I just said, will you take $5? And he said yes, and I was like more than happy to give him $5. And then he threw in he's like, well, go ahead and take the other piece. And I really didn't even want it because I didn't need it. And actually, it is a little broken, like it's not working properly. I don't know if it could be fixed or not. But I mean, for somebody just to have on the for looks, it looks fine cosmetically. I mean, it has a piece of tape right here.
Build it into a lamp.
What's that?
Build the lamp out of it.
Yeah, that's what I'll do. Or a back scratcher or something. I don't know.
But now in 5 years from now, you're going to find the other piece of that SNK now featuring sign.
Yeah,
at a convention.
And then they'll go together.
Yeah.
But, the crazy thing is like, you could, like, the manual, like, I was really pumped about that. And, getting the carts for the prices that I wanted. And, like, all these things that you get. And then it's like the most simplest, littlest $5 purchase made me so happy. You know what I mean? Like, I remember being like, this was my favorite purchase because I never see it separate. Like anytime you go on eBay, it's always you can't get it separate. So I knew at some point I was going to have to buy one just to get the bar and then sell whichever one was in the lesser condition just to try to recoup some money.
Do you have an eBay save search for that at all or not? Like,
yeah, but it's weird because when you look up like U4 sensor bar, I don't know. Like sometimes it weirded it out. Like I I usually just found it by just going U-Force and going through it all, because U-Force was always going to be in the title, right?
Yeah.
'Cause
Unless the person doesn't know what it is. Unless the person doesn't know what it is. Say they found that in a box.
Right.
They don't know what it is. They read it. Then you use the words that's on it to find it.
I actually should have put power bar. You know, you're probably right, but I didn't know it was called that.
Yeah, that's true.
I didn't know that.
You'd have to Google it to find the pictures.
I'll be honest. I probably could have known that if I'd have put some more time and effort into it, but
you don't know what you don't know until you figure it out, right?
Because I had been calling it sensor bar, but it actually says power bar on here.
Which is weird. It sounds like a battery.
Well, it sounds like fucking one of those protein bars you eat. The power bar.
Yeah, that's true.
If I put power bar in, I would have shifted through like 8,000.
Unless you put punch out power bar, maybe
power
that would
bar.
Work.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Anyway, so I was really pumped up. So what was your pickups?
I don't remember what I bought. I know
what you bought yesterday when we were about to record.
I know. I was gonna put that later. I was gonna put that
went away.
I was gonna put that later on down below.
Okay.
What did I buy? So I mentioned earlier I bought that Mad Dog McCree. I also picked up Sunset Overdrive from Miles, a Flock of Nerds. I also picked up a Wii Rock Band wireless drum dongle at the Goodwill in Chicago. Yep. I just need to correct my spreadsheet that it's a drum, not a guitar one. Still worth like $15-20. What else? I got a wireless Xbox 360 wireless N adapter from Bill. So that was good. I also did a trade with VG Collectaholic Scott of Masters of Unlocking podcast, and I got Breath of the Wild Explorers Edition for Switch, sealed, brand new sealed. That was a good hookup. Yeah, so I get to replace Breath of the Wild on Switch. I never beat it on Wii U, but I played quite a bit.
You know what?
Now it's mobile.
That was my thing with Breath of the Wild on Wii U. I got pretty. I don't know how far, relatively speaking.
I know, right? Because it's a huge game. It's a huge fucking game.
Right, but I mean the campaign.
Yeah, it's optional stuff. Yep.
Right, I probably got through 50% of that, and then I don't know, man. I got in a funk, like personally wise, so I wasn't playing much, and then it got so many months passed, and then it was like I bought the Switch, and I was like, well, why? I might as well just buy it and start over. You know what I mean? And I did, and I've never gone back to my Wii U file, but I have beaten it on the Switch, and I mean it's a great game, and there's so much stuff to do even after you beat it. I mean, it's great.
Anyway, more stuff. I don't remember what else I got. The box of cereal. The cereal was all right. My son loved it though. He was super excited that it was Mario cereal. So about noteworthy pickup or sale purchases and stuff. So I've been selling modded Xbox systems. I sold 2. I had another one I should have been selling, but I need to swap the case on it because it has a fancy sticker outside I want to give to Musty Hobbit. So I got to put it in different housing. But I've sold 2, could have sold 3. They've been. I try and pick them up for anywhere from $5 to $20 depending on what comes with them and the condition. Then I mod them, put a bigger hard drive in it, and sell them for about $100. So
damn,
yeah. And the last one sold for $100. The other one before that, I think someone offered me $80, and I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? I mean, I don't have that much into them.
Because you're Canadian, you actually mean 100 deer, right?
Yeah, for sure. No, moose.
Okay, you're right.
Or moose bucks
as bucks too, aren't they?
Yeah.
Are they male?
I don't. No.
Do they call them bucks as well?
I don't remember. For some reason, I want to say it's a different word, but I can't remember. I don't know shit.
We'll just come on. We got to keep the Canada insult going. You meant moose.
We'll just say moose. Yeah.
Nice.
100 moose. So like 25 cents American.
Yeah, exactly. You have to pay us. You're actually in the hole.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. But anyway, that's been helping recoup money on my collecting budget. I also have 4 of those crystal Xboxes I need to figure out what the hell to do with. 4 or 5? I don't know. I lost count.
If you don't mind me asking, what are those going for? Those crystal Xboxes?
Around here, people sell the unmodded ones for $150. I was planning on selling my modded ones for $150.
Controller or any controllers, or is it just do you sell the controllers separately?
The ones I have, I was going to sell them with just black controllers because I have like 2 crystal controllers, maybe 3. One needs repaired.
Set.
I'm keeping 2, I think, of each color. I can't remember. I talked to Musty a while ago because I just went over like how many Xbox controllers I had. I'm like, I don't need this many. What should I keep? What do you think? I think he and I had agreed that it makes sense to keep 1 of each color, plus a full set of 4 black ones.
Oh, for sure.
And then a Duke.
Do you prefer the Duke or the small?
I like the S. Yeah, I don't have giant, massive monster hands like Musty does, so I don't need the Duke.
You know, the funny thing is, I love finding those Duke controllers now, man. Every time I
Why?
find them, they're like $1.50.
Okay.
I'm like,
and then they sell good or what?
I haven't listed any. I've just,
okay. You've been hoarding them.
I probably have like 8 of them, but I've noticed the consistent like $20 to $30 bin prices selling.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
I mean,
you should have almost sold them around the time the new Duke came out, because I think the popularity went up and the price would have gone up.
But
yeah,
hey, you know,
whatever. You can still sell them, I'm sure. And the older they get, the harder they're going to be to find.
But and the fact is, I know I'm going to be able to get more than $1.
Yeah, exactly.
And regardless, even if it's $15 plus shipping, I'd be happy with that.
Yeah,
I would take an $18 ship on any of them. I'd be thrilled, because I've never paid more than $1 for them, and some of them. One of them I got for free. The lady told me $1 a piece or whatever, and then I bought 2 of them. I gave her a 5. She gave me $4 back, and then I was like, "Oh no, you said $1 a piece," and she goes, "Oh, no, just take it." And I'm just like, "Oh, you got any more stuff we can work on? Like, what else you got?"
Can you screw up counting again? And what else you got?
I think she got embarrassed because she miscounted, and then she's like,
yeah.
"Oh no, it's fine," and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I have more Xbox system mods, so I can recoup more money. But let's move on. So, what are you selling? Anything you're selling you want to mention? Starting with me, sorry. So I found a Kijiji ad, as I always do. This guy had 400 PS3 games, all in great condition. But in the picture, it was just like they were all stacked up, which is real nice. Like, picture your shelf of games, but turned sideways, stacked.
Right. Yeah.
But he had like 5 stacks in one picture. And then the next picture was 5 more stacks. It was just ridiculous. So I just went through on my phone and zoomed in on the pictures and scrolled through and picked out all the good ones. And I messaged him, "How much for these?" In his ad, he said, "Most are $5
right
each." So I picked out all the good ones. And he replied back to me with, "You sure do know your expensive games." Because I guess he probably looked up a couple of them and like, shit, these aren't $5 each. But I ended up getting 13 games for $70, which is 5 each, except one of them, which was the last one I added on, was Spider-Man Friend or Foe, and I said I'd pay $10 for it because it sells for $30. That was the most expensive one. So $5.38 a game is what I ended up paying.
Nobody undercut you in the meantime, so that was good.
Yeah, and I was quick on it too. That's another benefit I have to how I view the ads, which is something I want to do a video about at some point. I just had RetroPixel comment about my latest pickup, the one I got last night, and say he sometimes hates me because of my pickup pictures.
Well, it's funny because we were having a conversation, and then I saw what's this? Oh.
Yeah,
and then it was like your attention was gone.
It was gone. Right, my internet wasn't working anyway last night. That's a whole other story.
Yeah, but you could hear me talking, and you couldn't hear me talking. It was just like
you were cutting it out, and I was paying attention enough to fill in the words, and then I saw that ad. I'm like, I need to message this guy now with the pickup that I got today.
That was smart though. That was a good. Anyways, I'm not trying to.
Yeah, so of those 13 games, I paid $5.38 each, and they were worth an average of $17 US each. So I've already sold off 3 of them, 2 of them, 3 of them, something like that. Pretty sure I've already paid for my money, or paid for all of them. But
really close.
So I sold Folklore and Silent Hill Downpour and Sly Collection. The 3 of them combined, I sold for $45 profit so far. That's profit after costs, after how much I paid for them, and how much eBay took and everything like that. So that's so far. I still have 10 games left to sell. Yeah. And you, anything worth noting for selling?
As far as active listings, it's kind of a bunch of just random stuff that was already listed. This last month, I had a medical thing that happened. And I haven't been able to. Well, I mean, I had surgery on I had a tumor. All right, it's not that it's benign. Everything was fine, but of course, all my focus was on that. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, so I didn't do any shopping or anything like that. But everything worked out great, so that was fine. But then I went into I did actually pick up some stuff. I picked up a Dukes of Hazzard race car, like a slot car set I saw on the top of a shelf in a Goodwill. I think it was like $3. I remember looking at it thinking, man, it doesn't look old. I mean, it was from 2003. So I was always trying to talk myself out of even buying it, right?
Yeah.
So I pull it down, and I open it up, and I'm like, man, this is immaculate. Like, it looked like they probably played it once and put it back, and I wouldn't be surprised if they never even played it the one time. They definitely took things apart, but it was so clean. So I looked it up, and I was like, okay, I'm buying this. So I ended up selling it for $60 plus $24 shipping, and I was able to get a few dollars off of the shipping when I boxed it up to ship it. I actually ended up shipping it out for like $16.80, but so a little extra more come in my pocket, and found a Texas Instrument, Texas Instruments calculator. Those are always hit and miss. Some are worth nothing, some are worth a lot.
Yeah.
I caught one that was in the middle. It was only about $15 and sold that.
Do you remember the model or not? Just out of curiosity.
It was a TIBA2.
Okay.
Plus business. It's a business analyst. That's the long and short of it.
Yeah. I'm just curious in case I ever see it. You know what I mean?
Oh, I would definitely
like
pick it up.
TI-83, TI-81, TI-84. I don't know, something like that. Everybody picks up all those ones.
Right, but this one, I mean, I sold it for $15 shipped. I mean, it wasn't a lot, but I mean, the shipping cost me $3, and the calculator cost me $1 or 50 cents. So I mean, I'll do that all day.
How do you ship it? How would you ship something like that?
I just shipped it in just a small box, a really small box. But I could see shipping it in a bubble mailer as well. But I would,
if I ship anything more than a bubble mailer, it jumps up to $15 for shipping.
Okay, so then you could ship it in a bubble mailer,
and that would be $3.33 for me to ship in a bubble mailer.
All right. So if you're really concerned about, let's say, cracking, how about cutting a couple of pieces of cardboard?
I've done that.
Taping it around it, and then stick it in.
As long as it doesn't get thicker than a game with padding, you know what I mean?
It wouldn't because the calculator is thin already.
I've seen some that are pretty thick, like the TI-83 is.
This one was no thicker than maybe a tad bit thicker than an average iPhone.
Okay. All right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like 3DS cases, DDS and 3DS cases. If I put those in a bubble mailer, they're too thick for me to mail through letter mail.
Right. I understand.
So if it's that thick with cardboard, then I'm screwed. It
sounds like over there is very strict. You know what though? You could probably get away. I mean, at a $15 thing, it's worth rolling the dice on a bubble mailer.
Yeah.
I mean, you're worried about, I guess the ultimate concern would be in getting cracked. But I would roll the dice on a $15 sale. I'd roll the dice.
I've even thought with game cases to avoid them getting crushed and cracked. I've thought about putting foam inside them, like a sheet of foam to stop them from getting squished. That's the next thing I'm going to have to do, I think. Like a piece of foam, like this kind of foam, like that. Just to stop it from compressing. I mean, thicker than that, but
no doubt.
You get the idea. Just a strip or whatever of foam, probably wider than that too. But something like that is the next thing I need to kind of look into doing just to prevent problems.
Yeah, and I got a PlayStation 2 for $5, a Slim. Those are always $50.
Really?
You know what I mean, 50. Yeah, I'll get 50 on those all day. And matter of fact, I would get 50 plus shipping, but I listed it in a hurry and noticed I didn't charge for the shipping, which no big deal. Well, I mean, so I made $35 instead of $45. I mean, I didn't care. I was happy it sold. They're getting a good deal.
You probably sold it faster because of that too. So
it did. Well, see, the thing is, so as I was preparing to go to the convention, I was pretty confident that the stuff that I already had is kind of stagnant. I'm gonna have to do some price adjusting and stuff like that. I was confident that wasn't going to sell on Friday because, in my ads, I always say, I ship out on Friday if you buy by a certain time.
Yeah.
But I don't ship out on the weekends, but I will ship it out Monday. So it meets that 2-day requirement.
Yep.
Because if you buy it on Friday.
2 business day too.
So, right. From Friday to Saturday is 1 day. From Saturday to Monday is 2 days because Sunday doesn't count. So
I thought both days don't count.
They probably don't, but in my mind.
That's fair. Yep. You're overdoing it just so you can
it still might be considered 1 day shipping, but at the minimum it's still 2 days, right?
Okay. Yep.
So I was like, well, what I did was like, and here's one of my tips. If you have a situation like that, make all your ads, just save them in draft, right? So like, okay, I'm going to list. I'm going to take a picture of this bottle.
Okay,
boom,
yeah.
my bill, description, da-da-da-da. When you get down to the end,
when you know you're coming to vacation, basically, you mean.
Right. So instead of hitting publish, just hit save. So now it's in the draft.
Yep.
So I had like 5 items saved in draft, right?
Yep.
So what my thought was, as soon as it passed like 1:00 on Friday, then I was going to publish them all, and then hopefully stuff would sell while I was at the convention. Then I'd have
because it sells
money.
better on weekends too, right? You don't want to not have it up for the weekend.
Oh no! I mean, if you're going to do it, you want that stuff. You definitely want it up on the weekend, I mean, especially Sundays. One of the best days for any seller. If you really look at, and Sundays, definitely you want to have things listed by Sunday. So I ended up selling 4 items. I sold the PS2, I sold the calculator, I sold a sealed Namco museum for $24 that I got for 50 cents at the same yard sale. That I got the calculator. I got them both for $1.
For what system?
For DS.
Oh, okay. Because that game exists for all of the systems, basically.
You're right.
I have them all on the shelf.
Yeah, and then of course the Dukes of Hazzard track, and I actually had a couple other things listed that didn't sell, but I mean they will. I got this dinosaur clock that I had found. It's from 1993. It's about a $25 item. The problem was it was actually a higher item, and people are racing to the bottom now.
Okay.
Like you go back 6 months ago, someone sold it for 50, and then the next people just kept getting desperate and lowering and lowering and lowering it. So now
and then there's enough volume too that they are competing with each other too. Like say there's 5 posted, someone wants to get to the bottom then. Because if there's 1 posted, they might go below, but it's not as much below.
But the weird thing is, it's not even that. It might only have been 2 or 3 people who has affected this market, because there's not even that many listings. It's like maybe 3 listings max.
And how many
so
sold?
These idiots, instead of just holding their water, let the other guy sell. Just leave it there. They just people aren't really
for the quick sale, not for the long game. And keep
what I tell people is, if you got good feedback, match it. You don't have to beat it. Match it.
And good photos.
Let the consumer decide.
Yeah.
Your feedback, if your feedback is good and you're equal with the other person, match it.
I say good photos too, because I think that's important. As a buyer myself, if there's 2 people
in regards to the money is what I meant.
Yeah. But I mean, if I'm looking at 2 ads myself as a buyer, and they're the exact same, even if one has worse feedback, but it's still like, let's say even 80%.
Right.
I would pick the person with the better pictures, because I can see that object is what I want more accurately.
No, but I'm talking about from the seller point of view. If you're competing with somebody,
I'm saying take better pictures than them too.
Right, and all things are equal in regards, right? Like, it's not like, your feedback is shit, or you're new, so you're trying to get the sale. I can understand that. When you're first getting going, that's the good strategy. Beat it by 50 cents, or beat it by $1, beat it by a penny, whatever. I get that, but that's also what starts a chain reaction. You beat it by $1, now someone has to undercut you by $1, and then someone else comes in, they undercut them by $1. Boom, 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 and now all of a sudden it's the race to the bottom. So if people, I'm not talking obviously from the consumer end, that's great. It's good for us when we're buying, but when we're selling, it's a terrible move, because now you're affecting the market negatively. You might say, well, I'm only going to get 1 of these. I don't care. I'll never see that again, until you see it again. And now all of a sudden it's like, oh, there's another one. Hey, remember that time I sold it for $40? Well, guess what? You made the spiral, or you made this chain reaction, and now it's like $10.
I think it requires a certain scenario, like a unique scenario, to get that to happen. That has to be a high number of people with the item to sell, and a lower number of people buying. Because if they disappeared off, if they sold quick, then you'd never have that competition maintained.
Well, I think I hear what you're saying.
So higher supply than demand is what I mean.
But when you have a niche item, right?
Yeah.
So like this clock is a niche item. So there's not going to be a lot for sale, but there's also not going to be a lot of people buying it.
Yeah.
But when it does sell, there's already been an established pricing range.
Yeah.
Just stick to it, and it might not sell for 6 months.
Yeah.
So what? Now, some people don't have space to store something for 6 months. I can understand that. Some people don't care. But if you're in it for, like, I'm in it for $1 on this clock, I'll let it sit. I don't care. I can put it. I have space. I can set it somewhere, and hopefully remember where I put it when it does sell. But, you know what I mean?
You need a place for all your stuff for sale. I have a spot now.
I do, but man,
it only holds so much. Yeah.
There's times where it's like I got a staging area, and now they're next to the staging area, and I got another. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know. I've had that. That's why I made a dedicated shelf in my closet here to just put them all. Because I've been like, oh shit, that just sold. Where is it? Where did I put it last?
Luckily,
I moved it for this, and I moved it. Yeah.
Anything?
Yeah, I almost did. Just the other day, something on Kijiji, I'm just like, oh shit. Oh, it was actually a couple times now. Arcade Stick was one of them. I'm just like, I took that to Barry to sell. Did it sell? I don't know where I put it. I asked my wife, do you have any idea where that is? Nope, it's yours. You should know where it is. I'm like, yeah, I should, but I don't. It was in one of the boxes from Barry anyway. But
are we morphed into the tip section yet?
That's actually next, yeah.
Okay, because I was going to say...
If you had the agenda open.
That would be a tip I would give too is, okay, you're going to a gaming convention. Take the stuff that, even if it's listed on eBay, take it with you. Because you might be able to trade it or sell it or whatever there. Just make sure that you as you're doing this transaction, you go right there and cancel your ad.
Yeah.
Because you don't want, I mean, you can always cancel the sell afterwards, but it's frowned upon.
What would you take to a game convention though to trade as trade fodder?
Games. Because
no accessories and what games for what systems? That's the other thing.
Well, oddly enough, I took I went to the one convention last year, SoCal. Well, actually, I took it to both of them, SoCal and Retro City Fest. Or actually, that was this year. Anyway, earlier this year, and I took a Power Glove, thinking this will be easy. Also, consoles are another thing. If you have a supply of consoles, like Super Nintendo is gold. You know what I mean? But it depends on who you're doing it with. Like, look at what they're selling it at there, and now you kind of get a good idea of what they're going to offer you if you trade it to the vendor, or you can undercut them to somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Plus, it's always nice when you make friends with a guy who actually has a table and they let you set your stuff on the table.
I thought about doing that. There's Bill's vending at the next one, and Hodge's vending, and Kevin's vending this time.
Yeah, Johnny Iucci let me put stuff on his table, and it was really nice of him. He didn't care. He's such a nice guy, very nice, and a great podcast too. The Collector Quest, definitely check it out. But so I would say games, and the reason why is because they're typically light. You know what I mean, and they're compact. You could fit 50 games in a backpack and not really affect your day.
But would you bother bringing CD-based games?
Well, that's actually what I traded in, was a bunch of PlayStation 1 RPGs that
True. So PlayStation 1 RPGs, that's high value, right? They're not.
Right. Well, and these were all like the $15 to $30 titles, but
what kind of credit did you get? You said you got good credit on them? Or?
Well, the thing is these things fluctuate so much, and it's the race to the bottom with a lot of them. Like Final Fantasy Tactics, at one point you can get $80. Now you would be very fortunate to get $30 on a consistent sell, and you're more likely to get 20. And then when you
to me again, that's volume. There's more people willing to sell it than there are willing to buy it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it was like I had Final Fantasy Tactics 7, 9, and Chrono Cross. So it was like 4 games. I think that just added correctly. So I had the stack, and the stack was free to me. It didn't cost me anything because I bought a big bundle. I've already made like $350, $400 on the bundle already on top of my initial investment. I'm so far ahead on it. And the thing with them is they're in good shape, but man, when you're talking about like a 80-hour RPG, right? On a low, like $20 back, I don't know, like some of it isn't worth the hassle because they'll be like, I'm 18 hours in and the game froze. How the fuck am I going to determine if that's going to happen? Like, unless these discs are immaculate.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if there's even some scratches, and it might boot up just fine, and you could play a few minutes, but I'm not going to invest 10 hours to see if it'll play. I don't have that kind of interest in the game to begin with, and it could mess them up later on. I don't want to deal with it. You know what I mean? So what I'm saying is the risk reward wasn't worth it to me on them individually. As a lot, it would have been fine. I would have sold it as a lot, but these guys are going to play the games. You know what I'm saying? Like, I find that RPG buyers typically play the games. They're not just setting them on the shelf. They're going to play them. Whereas some of these games, nobody's going to play.
Yeah.
You buy them, sit there, you look at them, and every now and then you might pop them in, but
or you think about playing them more often than you actually play.
Than you actually do. So I mean, I got 50
90% of this.
Yeah, to me, I felt it was very fair because when I added it all up, it was probably 70, and that's before fees and shipping. So I actually think I got what I would have cleared had I just sold them myself. Okay. And you know, I didn't care, and you know, I ended up getting this minty Super C. I mean, I kicked in some money on it, not much. He wanted 80, so I actually kicked in 30. But thankfully, I didn't actually even kick in 30 because my stuff was selling on eBay after I listed it. So it really didn't cost me anything. So and if I really wanted to sell the cart and the manual, I can actually sell the cart and manual and only be in it for like $5. But I'm just gonna leave it complete because it's
it's such good condition. Yeah,
I just don't even want to mess with it. I'm just gonna leave it alone, and if I ever decide to sell it, you know what I mean. So, and and one last thing about the Q Dogs, I did get to see a spreadsheet. I didn't get to see the spreadsheet, but I did get to see a Q Dog spreadsheet. And
I've seen the spreadsheet.
You would have to say that one.
I think I have access to it still.
In person?
Like right now on the computer.
Yeah, don't count. I can do that too. I mean, see, he has
printed
a physical
spreadsheet. Yeah, I don't want the physical one. I want the one where I can see his formulas.
Oh, well, okay, fair enough.
I don't know if I still have it or not. Or there's one. Video game inventory share. But I think this is dated from earlier this year, from March this year. Yeah. So he made a copy of his and shared that with me.
Well, you're in the inner circle now.
The inner Q Dog circle.
I shared drinks and a room with them.
I did not share a room with them.
We used the same bar of soap.
Q Dog touched my camera. Did you see my video? I'm assuming you didn't see the Chicago video. At the end of my Chicago video, Q Dog goes up to my camera that was in the corner of the room and goes like this.
I'm gonna have to. You know what? I think
I'll send you the link to it. It's fine.
Send me the link because I have been watching so many of them. I don't know if I got to that one. It's really interesting to see all the different perspectives of the exact same stuff.
Yeah.
I like that though. It's kind of neat because it's like, oh, so and so's in this shot, and I was watching the live feed when it was on, and I was like, I mean, not that I had like, I don't know, it's gonna sound worse than I actually mean it, but it was way more interesting than I thought it was gonna be. You know what I mean? Like,
okay.
I didn't think it was gonna be boring, but you know, you're just sitting there watching people watch people. But it was kind of interesting, and plus, you know, I was in the live. You know, there was someone who was working the live, the chat. So I was,
Musty was doing that most of the time. He did a damn good job.
Oh, for sure. You know what? And Sean, does he go by P1? You might have to.
Yeah, it's fine. No, we say Sean. People say Sean all the time.
I forget who goes by their code all the time. Anyway,
I know. Yeah.
He did a great job, but I really and it's not really a comparison contrast type of thing. But I just really like what Musty's doing right now. I like that Now show. I think that's great. You know what I mean? Where he kind of highlights everybody's stuff going on, and I think the social media has really stepped up a lot. You know what I mean? Not that Sean was slacking. He does great job.
He's one person, right? Now we've got Musty, Rocket Sauce, and Dean all have access to the account. Technically, I do too, but I haven't done anything with it. But yeah they all have access, so it's more people. Sorry?
You got some credit you didn't deserve then, because we were talking about it, how it stepped up, and I believe Melissa said I think Derek is doing that.
I'm doing the forum mostly.
You've been exposed.
Yeah,
you didn't do it.
I didn't do the Cartridge Club Twitter account.
Yeah, but
I changed the name on it yesterday, but that's it.
But it's definitely stepped up, and I mean they're doing a great job. So keep up the great work, guys.
Yeah.
Like I said, I really enjoy that Musty show. I like his second breakfast as well, but that that Cartridge Clubs Now is pretty cool because it kind of gives you like a highlight of stuff, and you know sometimes we're all busy people, we can't get to everything, but it's nice getting like the cliff notes. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, he just did. I don't know if you saw his this week. I think it was this week.
I haven't got to watch that one.
So
yet.
he changed the the interface a bit. He added a side with it, telling like what section he's on, and across the bottom. No, it was something across the bottom. But he's also got like videos for each thing he talks about and little thumbnails for podcasts and stuff. So it's good. It's getting even better.
That's great, man. We'll keep it up because I mean I'm really enjoying it. I'm glad to see it growing. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It seems like it just like there's this momentum happening. It's really good.
Yeah, we're trying, right? Especially because him and Ryan get the reins, and now they're kind of say, okay, well, there's two of us, and let's make sure we don't fuck this up. So I think they're really trying to.
The last thing you want to do is start to see a
decline.
Go down.
Yeah, that would suck.
At least maintain, right?
Yeah. Tip corner we're back to. Okay. When someone says an item is being picked up by someone later, make sure that they know that you're ready to get it now. Just say it. I can come now, or include if they don't show up or they falls through, please just feel free to message me. Make yourself available, make sure they know, because that has helped me several times with, they didn't show up, come get it.
I've also had the exact same thing where I've told them like, hey, I'm not trying to get it, in the middle of your deal, but I can come now. And that's after kind of buttering them up, talking to them a little bit. And they're like, you know what? Fuck it. Just come right now then. Yeah. He should have already been here,
Yep. There's so many people who are like, well, he wanted to come next Wednesday, so why don't you just come now? Or a lot of people, my wife just noticed this, was selling kids' clothes on Facebook groups. She's got other mothers saying, can you wait till Friday? I should probably wait to pay on Friday. It's $35, man. If you have to wait for a paycheck, maybe you should just not be buying it. I mean, it's kids' clothes, so maybe you're saving money in the long run.
Or how about
just
get back to me then?
Yeah, if someone else hasn't bought it by then. Yeah, there's that too.
But that's a critique on their oddball style. But I mean, as a buyer, if you're not ready to go, I mean, what do you expect from a seller? Because how many sellers have had that? Okay, I'll hold it, and you never hear from them again, or they would tell you, well, I actually ended up getting it anyways, or because
I found a better deal somewhere else.
Well, what happens if they see it cheaper? You think they're going to honor that agreement?
No, not a chance. Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're going to, so as a seller.
I've had people do that as a seller. I've had people say, I found it somewhere else cheaper, and not even tell me they weren't going to show up anymore.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Here's another, as a seller, right? Don't buy into that shit. Just tell them, hey, listen, if you can make it, great. But, if it sells in the meantime, and you might light a fire under their ass and they actually just get the money up.
Yeah, I've done that and had the person lit a fire in their ass. They're like, I'll just come right now.
Right.
But I've also had the opposite where I commit to somebody that's not showing up right away and they don't show up. And I have to go back to the other guy and they're not available or they already found one.
Well, and then you've weakened your position now.
Yeah. Now I'm more desperate.
Now it's like, well, I've had that happen too many times. I mean, I'll tell you like this, unless it's a friend, I'm not holding it. Like if a friend tells me, I'm assuming their word's good. But if it's not a friend, I'm not going to do it. And I wouldn't even ask anybody.
Yeah, I need to make that part of my standard reply when I say to people like, yeah, I'm available, blah, 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 blah. I need to say, but I'm not holding it. Like I need to do that. That needs to be a habit I need to form for my own good. Yeah. All right, story time's next. Any stories you want to tell, failures, lessons learned, anything like that? Chris, you're first. I mean, you've already told stories. You don't have to go into anything.
I was going to say, I told like 45 stories probably.
And I have 2.
Right, so.
And we're at like over 2 hours now.
Do you have another story?
Yeah, I have 2 stories.
Well, let's hear them then.
So one was, it's kind of a tip and a story. I tell my wife most things that I pick up when I pick up things, as she's been listening to me talk when she does. She's been learning what's useful, what's valuable, what to watch out for, and she also likes finding deals herself, thrift stores, Facebook, buy and sell groups, stuff like that. So the more information I give her, the better it is for me in the end, really. So she was looking at Facebook the other day. It's probably over a week now. And she noticed an ad for a DS Lite with charger, with Super Mario 64, with Gumpy, whatever the hell that is, Final Fantasy 3, Tetris DS, Age of Empires, who cares, Zelda Phantom Hourglass, Sims Pets 2, who cares, and Pokemon Heart Gold with the Pokewalker. So those were all in the cases. Pokewalker Heart Gold did not have the outer box, but it still had
the
gaming
cardboard
case
slip.
and the Pokewalker and the second back for the Pokewalker.
Yeah, and that's actually something you almost never find with it when you find it.
So $30 for all that.
No, you killed it. Because those things at the time, they were the most accurate step counter on the market. Like, there's people who still claim it's better than like their phones or even the Fitbits. Like, the
Fitbit's pretty inaccurate being on your wrist. It's not great sometimes, but I use it because it's, pretending I'm healthy. So anyway, we got all that for $30. The girl, my wife said, I'm interested, even though she wasn't the first person. 4 days later, the lady's like, all these people aren't showing up. Can you come today? My wife's like, yeah, I can go. It was a 30-minute drive for my wife, but she packed the kids up and she went to a store nearby anyway that she loves going to. So
maximize it, yeah.
Definitely. So about $180 US total value of all that stuff.
Yeah, great. And then anything Pokemon's always going to hold value or go up.
So I just finally, it's been a while, but I finally posted the Pokewalker and Heart Gold today. I posted it for $90. We'll see. It's a weird. If you go look up Heart Gold, there are loose ones that have sold for like $60 for a freaking loose one.
Right.
They're all over the place.
I found a really nice copy at a yard sale, and when I started going through the completed sales, that's the other last tip, I guess, is really go through the listings, because you'll see like a string of like CIBs sell for this, but then you go down further and you see loose ones sell for more, if not the same. So it's like, just set the market, man.
Someone must have got someone must have got those deals at some point. That was uncommon. Those are exceptions to the rule. When you go higher, you see all the loose ones, and then you'll come back into CIBs again if you're sorting from lowest to highest price. Right.
But, I mean, there's no sense of undershooting yourself, too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't mind putting it. I should have put it at $100, but just that $100 number some people shy away from, right?
Sure. That's why you put it at $99.99.
I could have put it at least $95, but then with the shipping, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna put it $90, $15 shipping, because it's gonna have to be in a box. And we'll see what happens. I don't mind waiting it out, or I don't mind, maybe lowering it $5 later on. We'll see. The next story is of that stuff that's I've got. All that bundle. Final Fantasy went to James RetroPixel, and everything else I still have. There is a girl coming Friday, of course, to buy the DS. She posted a GG ad looking for. So like, just picture someone posting
That's nice.
I'm in search of a DS. Well, I have all my feeds set up that I get notifications on my phone when people post stuff. So I saw this ad and I'm like, messaging her. So I told her $30 for the DS with the charger. The DS is in great condition. It even has the Game Boy Advance slot cover.
Yes.
No scratches on the screen at all. Clean. Battery holds a charge. And it even came with a game, like a holder for the DS. I'm like, yeah, you can have that case too. Yeah. I'd rather it gone. I've held onto those before. It's not worth it. You're never going to sell that alone.
No, and plus, I mean, it's
a value add for her too.
Right, but I mean, as far as those holders goes, like unless they're like very unique, like Pokemon, like something unique about it.
Yeah.
There's so many of them for so many systems, and it's like they're just garbage, man. Like it's almost better just to add, for you, even if it doesn't add value to the sale, it adds value to the fact that they perceive it as added value.
And that's what I mean. Yeah, if she sees someone else have one, or someone else messages her saying I have one available for $30, she might take mine more likely because, let's say, it's in better condition.
Has the case.
Oh, it also has a stand, a holder stand. I didn't even show her that, and I'm probably gonna throw in that not Pokemon game. I'm gonna throw in the Sims 2 Pets.
What?
Sims 2 Pets.
That's like common as hell. Yeah.
I'm never gonna sell that, so just get rid of it. Yeah. I haven't thought about throwing in Gumpy, but I don't know.
Oh, you can always use that for and throw in on another game.
Yeah, that's true.
Sale, but
I don't have a DS Lite. I haven't come across them very much. That's the only one I got for a long time now. All right, so the next thing is the deal I found last night when we were about to record and my internet was screwing up. I got a little notification that came up when I opened my browser telling me there's more ads posted on Kijiji. So I opened that up and I look, and someone posted an ad saying, oh man, I screenshot it. Now I can't remember what it said. Oh, it's right here. No. It's called Video Games DS and Switch. That was the name of the ad. In the body of the ad, is it still there? No, I think it's gone. Yeah, he pulled it down. In the body of the ad, it just said something along the lines of Switch games and Skylander Portal of Power, $10 each. But the games in the picture are, oh man, I should have had that open already. Super Mario Odyssey, Doom for Switch, Story of Seasons, Trio of Towns, and Skylander Swap Force for 3DS. So, I mean, the Swap Force...
You can throw that in a garbage can, but
my son loves Skylanders, but I need to get the portal that goes with it if mine doesn't work already. I don't think mine works. But, yeah, so we'll see if that's useful. But aside from that, the other games, I mean, Super Mario Odyssey, Doom, those sell for $40 each, used. And then, and that's US dollars. And then the Story of Seasons Trio Towns, I was like, it sounds familiar. It's a Story of Seasons game. It's going to hold value because that's basically the same as Harvest Moon. The same people who made Harvest Moon moved on to make this. They just had to change the name. So that sells for $25 US, complete. And it was complete. This is all clean. I couldn't tell from the pictures, but I'm like, I don't care. Mario Odyssey alone's worth $40. I was going to try and buy just the 3 games, but then last night, after I messaged him, I'm like, I'm just going to tell him I'll take them all. $10 for the Swap Force game. I don't care. I'll just eat that $10, and I'm going to make more than that back anyway.
Absolutely.
Just to lock in that no one else is going to buy it.
The guy's going to buy them all.
Exactly. I don't want anyone else coming in and buying the stuff. So I just did that, and he was happy. And like I said on the reply to you on Instagram, this was in a town outside of my town, like a decent sized town for around here, but it's a farm town, a lot of older people and stuff. So he probably has a hard time finding people to buy things. Maybe that's why he put them for $10 each, or he just has no idea, or his parents buy him games and he's just trying to make some money back. I don't know. But so I went and picked it up from his work. He just gave it to his coworkers and he wasn't working right then. I think he was away on lunch, and I bought it off for $40 for those 4 games. So this part I don't know if you know yet or not, but I posted Super Mario Odyssey on Kijiji today for $60, and the guy said, "Would you take 50?" I said, "I'll take 55 if you picked it up today." So he came to my work today and bought it.
Good, you're already profit.
Then Doom is pending sale to Josh Creepleet. He wants it, so we're gonna try and work out a trade at Barry Game Exchange or whatever else. Actually, that reminds me, I need to fix this. And then at work, I have a coworker named Carol who I've sold a whole bunch of games for. She gave me all her old stuff. She keeps everything in great condition. I've sold like $600 worth of shit for her. She keeps everything and she keeps it in great condition. So she gave me 30% commission on everything I sold for her. She came up with that number based on her own research for eBay selling companies.
Sure.
But I stood up, looked over the wall at her and said, "Hey, were you looking for this game? The Story of Seasons, Trio of Towns." She says, "Yes, I was." "How much do you want for it?" I said, "Well, how much are you willing to pay?" She's like, "I was looking at Amazon just for it last week." And she said it was like $39 or something like that. And she's like, "I didn't want to pay that much." I said, "Well, I see here on price charting, which uses eBay, that it sells for about 25 complete US. She's like, "Would you take 25 Canadian?" I said, "How about 20? Because she's done me lots of deals. Like, she's given me 30% off all this stuff I've sold for her. I owe her. You know what I mean? I feel like I owe her.
And you know what? The fact is you're in the profit zone at that point. So
yeah, that's true too.
Why not hook somebody
and
up
she's a coworker. She's a friend. I know I paid $10 for it. She doesn't know, but she probably knows I got it for a good deal. I feel bad asking too much. I let her throw out the first number, and I went below it.
Right. Double. And actually, that's even if you would have said, "Give me $20," and she said yes, she would have been happy. But her saying 25 and you say, "You know what, give me 20," she's probably even more happier.
Yes, I agree.
She already conceded that she was going to pay 25 in her mind, and you're like,
and the way she said it was like she was unsure if I would accept it. She said, "Would you take 25?" Like that way exactly. Except her voice is way more squeaky. It's cute. But
that's great.
and I owed her money for some of the stuff I had sold for her anyway. So that took off some of the money that I owed her to pay for the things I sold for her, which knocked off $20, and I paid her the rest today, which she was even happier that I gave her the game and then I gave her money.
I mean, even though it's Canadian money.
Exactly, right? Moose bucks or
whatever.
So yeah, I forgot about that in my spreadsheet calculation.
Beer labels.
Oh my god. So yeah, I needed to add that to my spreadsheet, which changes the amount that I'm in the hole for the next, or one of the next sections. That's actually the next section. Yeah. Sweet. Fix that. All right, next section is discussion, topic, collection update, whatever you want to do. You already updated us on your N64 collection. You said you have 32 games left or something like that?
Yeah, 34, and I'm down to probably I think 170 manuals to go, give or roughly. I mean, it's actually probably a little less than that, but just ballparking it, probably about 170 manuals out of the entire NES set. So that's pretty. It might not sound impressive, but it's very hard to do that.
Yeah, no, it is. And you're getting them in decent condition. You're not picking up ones that are shattered and torn and ripped apart.
I mean, I can't say every single one on this shelf is pristine.
It doesn't have to be pristine. I just mean they're not like shit. No, they're not water damaged, complete. Garbage,
everything's complete,
junk.
And I might have one or two that I wouldn't mind upgrading, but I'm sure those one or two were probably like free or $1 or 50 cents or in a lot that just happened to have been there. But I'm not a super snob with condition with that. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, if all the pages are there and the price is cheap, I'll pretty much take anything as long as it doesn't smell moldy or, offensive.
And you can always upgrade it later, too, as long as it's something you will find.
And that's a tip for a collector. It's like, I know too many people who get, Curtis, get caught up in labels. And I understand. I get it.
I know exactly what game you're talking about now.
I get it, but man, I haggled him down such a great deal. But actually it ended up working out anyway because he got something else he wanted. But
okay,
he had his trade-in items. He wanted Super Turrican 2. Okay, and there was a guy there was only two people who had it there. One guy had a CIB for 400, and we weren't going to get down too far on that. And the other guy had it, and he had it for 150, which is probably below the normal asking rate. He put condition into it. So I went up to the guy, I told Curtis, I was like, what if I can get it really cheap? He goes, well, go ahead and try, but it's going to have to be cheap. I'm like, all right. So I go up to him and I'm like, and I also had Curtis's trade in. He was trading in some of his NES games, like the ones that were duplicate on the Classic.
Okay.
Or the NES Classic. Yep. So he's figured I don't need them. He's not that hung up on the physical library of that. He has all the physical carts for Super Nintendo, but not that.
Yeah.
I tell a guy, and it's like a guy and his partner. So but one's like the boss, right? So I tell I'm talking to the boss. I'm like, so what's the lowest you'll take? So then he tried to put it back on me. He's like, well, just make me an offer. And I was like, well, I don't know. Are you the kind of guy to get insulted, get angry when somebody lowballs you? So he starts laughing. So he turns to him and he's like, so he's going to tell me 100 and I'm going to come back with 130. And I'm like, okay, so 130. So we're at 130. All right. So then I reached in the bag and I was like, what would you do on the trade-in? And he's like, oh, so he turns to the guy. He's like, this guy's good. See, you see what he did there? He negotiated it down and then he hits me with the trade items, So he offered to give me $70 on that, which I actually thought was pretty fair. Curtis ended up getting 90 from his friend Steve and did a different trade. But at the time, I was like, damn, so now we're down to what? $60? You know what I mean? So I'm like, dude, you're going to have Super Turrican for $60. And he just couldn't get past that label. And I think he's insane. I would have done it. That would have been, to me, it would have been instant.
You pick it up now. You can always get rid of it later when you get a better one.
Oh, I'm just like, but you know what? I mean, he's very determined, and it's not like, Curtis can't pony up and buy the cart in the condition he wants, and I totally understand that logic. But for me, I almost said, damn, I'll buy it, but then I would have had to buy Curtis's games. It wouldn't have made sense for me, but. From Curtis's point of view, those games are almost like nothing now, right? Like he's getting rid of them. So emotionally, he's separated that.
Yeah.
So now it's really about whatever cash, But so anyway, that was my jumping in on your story time.
Yeah. So collection update. Yeah, that was where we kind of were. But
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm just reminding.
So I got down to those manuals, I guess. I don't know. We were I forgot how we got there. What was it? Condition, and I guess that's where we got there.
It's fine. It's a tangent.
Somehow
it's fun.
Somehow it was connected.
Let's make fun of Curtis. That's all that matters. So collection update for me. I'm down to negative 60 $61.33 for my collection. So that means everything I own in my video game collection has cost me $61.33. And I still have lots more stuff to sell to recoup that money and more, hopefully. And then I can get something bigger. Actually, I haven't put in the spreadsheet yet, but that PS4 that I bought, I haven't used it yet. It's been like a month. So I messaged my brother.
Mine either.
I messaged my brother who told me to watch out for a deal on a PS4 for him. And I said, look, I got this PS4 for $300. It's a slim and 1 terabyte. Do you want it? He's like, yes, I do. So he's going to buy it off me for what I paid for it. And I used store credit to get it.
And so you include like your Switch and all that in your collection aspect?
Yeah.
So that's very good, dude. The fact that you're only into
do you want to know what I paid for my Switch?
Dollars?
So I got the Switch when it was fairly new. I mean, it was a couple months for sure already, but I found it on Kijiji and I went for a drive. I actually bought a Pro controller before I bought a Switch. Where is the Switch? Did I buy a controller Pro? No, there's no way. I need to find the Switch. Where the hell is it? I bought the protector. This is really interesting audio. There it is, Nintendo Switch. Why is that not coming up? Did I misspell it? I did misspell it. So, Nintendo Switch, I got it for $290. At the time when a used one, complete in box, brand new, would have been $350 or so.
Yeah, but I mean, the fact is, it didn't cost you anything.
Yes, agreed. Yeah,
or well, it cost you $61.
But I'm still so cheap that I have to make sure I get it as cheap as possible.
I get it. There's nothing wrong with that.
And that one was brand new in box. He had only taken it out to take a picture of it. He won it at a work event. Him and his wife each already had a Switch.
Wow.
They were pretty avid video gamers.
And somewhere on his spreadsheet, he's deducted your purchase of his thing.
Exactly. It's free money to him. Free money to him.
$500.
He was actually a collector too. He had so many video games, brand new in box collections, like collector's editions with statues and all that shit. I actually told him, like, if you want, I can try selling stuff for you at a GameSwap sometime. And he took my number as if he was going to call me, but he never did. I think he has a hard time letting go of stuff. But he said, next time you need money, maybe I'll message you. It might actually be a good idea for me to message him proactively.
Yeah. I would check in with him every now and then. Just let him know you're live.
And still ready.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, I wouldn't have bought the Switch if it had been like $300, $400, that kind of thing. It also, actually, the Switch also, when I bought it from him, he also had an ad for the Xbox One Connect with the Slim adapter, the Xbox One S adapter, which at the time was selling for like $150, $200 because it was out of print, and then the Xbox One S and X were coming out and they required it. So everybody was wanting to jump on those, and eBay prices were shooting up, and Amazon price was over $300, all that shit. So he had the Connect and that. I think I paid $40 for the two of those. So I got it from him at the same time, or maybe the night before. I can't remember. No, it was the same time. Yeah, because I bought something from him a different time. Anyway, so I bundled that in for that deal, and that's why the Switch was so cheap too, because I kind of talked him down on bundling both. Anyway, back to this agenda. Let's go. Listener questions is next. So tweet #DDAnswers if you want your questions answered, or you can ask in the Cartridge Club forums under Dollar Dorks, or YouTube comments of the video even. So our first question is from Mrs. Q-Dog. Now this is from before the convention, the Game On Expo convention happened. But the first question is for Chris. And it was, what are your top 3 wants for Game On? Are you going just to see all the great people that are going this year?
That was actually my top want, is to meet them. As corny as that's going to sound.
That's not corny at all.
I'm being sincere about that. I was really happy to meet them. And Julian. Not to put him in a lesser category. I've just been interacting with the Q Dogs longer.
Yeah, and more too, right?
And more. And I mean, I definitely see my communications with Julian, now that I've met him, that's going to pick up, I'm sure, because now, I'm able to put a face and a voice with his little, his Twitter account. But now, I mean, for sure, But that was really my number one goal. I mean, my goal to these were just my goal was to get some manuals and some cheap Atari carts, and I did it. And then I was a little disappointed with the Atari selection, so I didn't really get a lot. But so I ended up just shifting gears and just getting N64, which would have been like number 4 on the list, if you would have went that way. So basically, I achieved all my goals.
Nice. And then to me, she also asks, do you have a favorite memory / moment from C3? Oh, man.
Does it involve J-Rock?
Actually, J-Rock disappeared for a while.
You know that picture? I know, I heard a little bit of that story. You know that, and I didn't want to put it out there because I don't know.
He had a friend in Chicago. He went and hung out with a friend.
No, let's talk about that.
Okay.
You know that picture where you guys were all standing in that bar and you were like caption this or whatever?
Yeah, okay. Someone did that. Yeah, someone took that picture.
Right. And you're kind of like, and the other guy kind of like, look on his face. I was going to be like, I don't know. I didn't want it to come off bad, but it was something like, yeah, my wife went over there, and the dude's like, dude, J-Rock just went that way. Or something like that. I don't know, like a joke, but I was like, it might come off wrong, but you know what I mean? Like, anyway, so I heard J-Rock got a little action.
I don't know what action he got, and it wasn't from my wife.
No, of course not. Of course not. That was what I say. It might have been a poor joke. That's why I didn't do it. I was like,
he went with some friend that was from Chicago. As far as we know, it was a girl. He had said, but he also went to a concert, and it was cool. It was cool for him to meet up with someone that I assume he only met online before, is my guess, and hang out with them in Chicago while he's doing the Chicago thing with us. Like, it's cool for him to meet people online while meeting people from online. It's pretty cool.
And now you really know the reason why J-Rock showed up. I mean,
that's true. That's true.
He didn't really want to hang out with you guys and eat pizza and shit.
Did you watch the video that Hodge made for that too? Because J-Rock rode with them, right?
It was multiple parts though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. But in the first part where they're picking up everybody,
where they pick up everybody, I really
did you see J-Rock go back into his house to grab his sleep app machine?
Yeah,
which was a vacuum.
It was like this old 1940s sleep app machine.
So good.
Oh yeah, that was great.
And for context, for anybody who doesn't know, Hodge and Bill have sleep app machines, and J-Rock was trying to join in, make fun of, and it's funny.
And even further context, I bet you Melissa wished that me, Curtis, and Eric had a sleep app machine because she was probably getting crushed by our snoring.
It's true. It's true.
The funny thing is, everybody's like, I don't snore. I know I snore. I've been told lately it hasn't been as bad, but I know. Curtis is like, no, I just whinny. I was like, whinny? What the hell's that? And he's like,
I can wince, like, yeah,
or something like that. He made some weird noise, and I was like, oh, okay. No, he full blown snores. He snores loud. Like, I don't know what this whinny thing is. I don't know if that's a Wisconsin
I am glad
thing.
We did not share a room with anyone.
Yeah, but the second night we were able to score some earplugs off Vintage, and so we were plugged up. We slept a lot better. Curtis is like, I slept great. I was like, yeah, I know, dude. I snore. What can I say? I'm trying not to. And nothing I can do.
Oh, my God. All right, so this isn't a listener question, but Yoshi Knuckles, or now he's Retro or BRW91 on YouTube, on Twitter. He had a story on his. You were talking to him about it, about the eBay stuff, or were you talking about the other one? But so he had an eBay purchase of a modded game gear that he did, a consoleized game gear, which was about $300 US, and he canceled the sale right away because he noticed that it looked like it was a scammer. He called it a chargeback scammer. He quickly canceled the order, refunded the money, and added them to his buyer list. He Googled the buyers. So I'll get down to I asked him how you first discovered it, and he said the name and address had a reference number in it, which was the first indication this is weird. Like, the address number was like reference blah blah blah.
Because the reference could also have been through that program. They give you reference
global shipping.
Numbers. Yeah, global shipping.
I didn't know that. Interesting. Okay, so maybe it was global shipping.
So
the other thing was he went and I don't know how he even checked, but he said the eBay account had bought hundreds of things per day. So I'm guessing that's based on feedback. He could see a lot of feedback of purchases and hundreds of them a day. He said there's lots of car parts and toys.
I will give a flip side. Let's go point counterpoint here. He says that. I would say, okay, so it might be a business who is buying hundreds of items who are selling it locally. I mean, I'm not saying he's wrong. He could be totally right.
So then the next thing he said is he Googled the username from eBay. And with Googling the email address, Googling the username, he said he saw a lot of people claiming that it was a chargeback scam account, and they were involved with a lot of people who were saying, for years now they've been doing scams, is what he got from the Google search. He also noticed that none of the purchases were related, like it wasn't a person who buys retro games, right? So that was a red flag to him too.
Well, I mean, his instincts are probably 100% right on this. I was giving some, I hope it came off as friendly because I really wasn't trying to argue with him because
I read it as friendly, but I know you and I don't know how he perceived it, right?
Yeah, and I really hoped it came off that way because, I mean, I don't really know Yoshi other than the little bit of interactions that we've had.
Yeah.
And so I didn't want it to come off like I was saying he was wrong. I was just saying, like, as a matter of fact, I even started off with like devil's advocate on one of them.
Yes, that's where I was like, okay, he definitely means it in this context. Before that, I suspected you meant it in a certain context, like, well, what it could have been, right? Just like a thought exercise, right?
Right. Yeah. Because I'm really the only reason I chimed in is, I mean, he seemed very upset.
Yeah, I think he gets upset. He does get upset about things fairly easily, and I would even say consistently. He bitches about. I'm
not trying to judge.
Yeah. I think he just when he gets upset, he tends to tweet about it. I think so. Then it comes off worst case, basically. Heat of the moment type thing too. So that might be part of it.
Everybody's social media is different. Like, I get it. Like if he's using it as a way of venting and I got involved in the vent, messed up his vent process. I was actually just trying to be helpful to him saying I can understand that, but man, if you have a legitimate tracking number and your account is legitimate, like you don't have all this, you don't have a bunch of claims against you. Yeah. And that thing has been delivered and they try to pull that and he claimed that there was other people who had that claim. eBay's aware of them. They're not going. You get the customer service rep. He would have been
covered, but
you're going to be covered. But I can understand also saying, you know what, better safe than sorry.
With it, yeah.
And I totally get that. I respect that, and I don't have any issue with that either. So either way he wanted to handle it, I was just trying to give him another perspective. Like plus. If you, and I don't know if he's using that option because then he said that it's really hard to navigate the web-based one, and I can understand that too.
Actually, I went and checked it. I couldn't find that option on my phone. I'm gonna check online on my PC.
You know what? They updated the app, and somehow I've updated it, and I still have it on mine. But I have seen, like, I was trying to help Julian through one, and I noticed, and he has an iPhone, or I think he did, and I noticed that the interface was kind of the one I don't like. So maybe he needs to update again, or you maybe need to update again. I don't know, but you're Android, correct?
Yeah, and mine's definitely the latest because it automatically updates.
Yeah, I don't know about Android's interface, and I'll tell you right now, another tip: if you like the interface of the eBay, do not have it automatic update because they do a lot of beta testing shit where they'll put in some option and they leave it unless a bunch of people complain.
Yeah.
Because they did an update like 6 months ago that made my life hell. It put extra steps in it. It wouldn't do it wouldn't let me do immediate payment through that. Like I have all my bins immediate payment only.
I modified all mine to be like that too. I had it on some, but I don't like that it's not you can't make it a default.
Right. So you always have to click it, which is fine. I don't mind. It's part of my routine.
Stupid.
Well, they took it off. It wasn't in the app anywhere, and I totally lost my mind. I call them. I'm like, what the hell would you do that for? And they're like, well, you could still do it in the web base. I was like, yeah, but now you're making another
two separate steps when I'm taking the pictures on my phone. Right? I want to use my phone.
Right. Now I have to do. Well, you can still web base through your phone. You have to go through like Safari or whatever.
Yeah, that's stupid. Yeah.
I know. So now I'm gonna do it through your app, and then you're gonna make me like hope somebody doesn't buy it in the 30 seconds it takes me to find it on the other
Chris,
one.
You could just do it as a draft.
Well, you can, but I mean, either way, it's still more steps.
It's still a pain in the ass, yeah. I'm just playing devil advocate.
No, you're right. Yeah, and I actually thought about that after, but
yeah, it's still
in the moment, I'm like,
it's not necessary.
Right, I'm like, why would you? It
should be a consistent interface no matter where I use it.
Right. Exactly.
Otherwise, what's the point in having an app? What's the point in having two separate web interfaces? One for cell phones, one for websites, or for desktops. It's just silly. So they're not consistent. And even when you're posting on a desktop, you can get two different interfaces for posting things, depending on where you click to do it.
Yep.
And that's a pain in the ass,
what software, like if you're using Chrome or if you're using Internet Explorer or whatever.
Yeah, stupid. It should all be the same. Otherwise, it's silly. You shouldn't get different experiences.
No,
it's a poor user experience.
It should be universal. But so, anyways, I mean, I understand where he's coming from. I was just trying to show him some options, like make sure you're restricting buyers, because if these people have done it, if they've had more than 3 complaints against them, that will automatically rule them out of even seeing your listing. So. Yeah. Definitely want to use that tab, because there's no, and not only that, like, I don't ship overseas unless it's through the global shipping program.
Yeah.
And if I were to do that, because I have had people contact me, like, to try to do it outside of the global shipping program, it's fine, but they're going to pay the price. But I'm not going to be playing catch up. You know what I mean? I'm not going to have them buy it and then find out, like, oh, this isn't worth it. It's going to cost me money to ship it to them. You know what I mean? So by using the buyer restriction, it cuts out other regions. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it's just good to use that every time. I don't understand the upside not to using it, to be honest with you. Like, I don't even know what the upside would be to not use the buyer restrictions.
Yeah.
So I always use
it's a wider range of people. Maybe it's possible that there's mistakes. They flag someone they shouldn't.
Well, maybe, but you know what? I'll take that. I'll take it's more likely you're going to get in a situation you don't want to be in. So maybe, sure, let's say you lost access to a few thousand good customers. I'll take that over 10,000 shitty customers. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Or whatever.
Where the hell is this stupid? I'm trying to set that setting. Site preferences. So I'm trying to set the restricted buyers as a default. It looks like it's supposed to be possible.
Yeah. Good luck.
For all listings. Yeah, I mean, eBay's interface. Like I said, I'm getting to another user interface that's this one's definitely a legacy one. You can tell because of the theme of the picture. So selling preferences. I don't need to do this now, but it is an exercise in using eBay's interface.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not an eBay apologist, and I think it kind of comes off that way at times. I do love the site. I think it provides me an opportunity that I wouldn't otherwise have, whether it's even buying or selling, either way. Is it perfect? No. But I've had a really good success rate with dealing with problems with the operators. Is it gonna be perfect for everybody? No, because not everybody thinks and talks like me. So maybe you do it differently, or maybe, I don't know. Maybe you don't know how to finesse a situation, or maybe you got the wrong operator. And I always say, if you don't like the way it's going, hang up and call back. You're not gonna get the same operator. You know what I mean? Like,
I actually was listening to a podcast, and they did. I was listening to a podcast where they had a caller call in to this podcast. This podcast is for eBay sellers, and the person called in and said, "Look, I called in to eBay that I didn't like the answer because they weren't following their own rules. I hung up, called back, and got the same guy."
Well, that guy should have went and bought a lottery ticket.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
I think that's about the same odds of getting the same operator. I mean, they got these people packed in warehouses. You know what I mean? Because you can hear them. If you listen really closely, you can hear like just hundreds of conversations going on in the background, like most telemarketer setups. And I mean, essentially that's what those
call centers. Yeah,
it's a call center. I mean, it's just tons of people just stuck in a room.
I've done that job.
Hey, someone's got to do it, man.
Yeah.
And I always show respect to the people when I talk to them on there. I try to, make sure they understand what I'm saying and give them an opportunity to understand, because I know sometimes there's a language barrier. So you could be mad, but that might not help you in that situation. It's best to call when you're calm and talk about it rationally, because then you might, you're angry at somebody, they might get angry right back at you and not be very helpful. So, I mean, anyway. But with the Yoshi, I hope what I said to him was helpful and it didn't piss him off. I was trying to be helpful anyway. So
I'm looking at the eBay setting, and it looks like I already have it enabled. I think this might be from a while ago we talked about this. Good. But that's okay. I'm just going to move on. Next thing was suggested content. So this is where we can suggest anything we want our users or our listeners to check out. We think they should, give it a chance for whatever reason. YouTube video, YouTube channel, podcast, game, movie, TV show, anything we enjoy. So starting with me, I already mentioned What's in Your Game Room earlier. It's a good channel.
Yeah,
I swear they used to have more videos, but I'll need to go back and check and see what videos there are there that I'm expecting to see. But anyway, another thing I wanted to mention was Modern Rogue on YouTube. So I don't remember how I came across it, but a while ago, I think it was through Revision 3, which is like they had some of the old G4 Tech TV computer nerd TV show guys come over to their web TV station basically, and Brian Brushwood is a magician who went on there and had a YouTube show called Scam School, which is actually still on, teaching you how to do like bar tricks and magic tricks and card tricks and just social engineering stuff and fun stuff like that. But he has another channel now called Modern Rogue where they do basically the same kind of thing, but sometimes it's like a product review in a fun way for spy cams, for example, or they learn how to shoot bow and arrow or throw knives or how to light a cigar and stuff like that. Just interesting things like that, fun things. Their mission is to become a modern rogue, right?
Right.
So that's a cool YouTube channel with fun stuff. He does it with a friend of his who I don't know, but he's entertaining too. And I'll have links for that in the video description as I always do.
We'll check that out.
For both of those, Scam School and Modern Rogue. Chris, you got anything?
Well, I already gave my recommendation as far as the YouTube channel goes earlier.
Retro Gamer. I'll put the link in there
and
too.
as far as something I'm watching, I've already finished it, but it's on Netflix. It's a documentary series. Each story is individual. It's like I think it was 12 episodes, 10 or 12. I think it might have been 10. But each one's about a different person, but it's called I Am a Murderer. And it's interviewing people on death row. You kind of get their perspective of what they think, maybe how they kind of got railroaded. And, some of them are, I'm exactly where I need to be. But some of them are, telling you kind of the story and how they got there. And then you also see maybe the detective who was on the case or an attorney. Of course, some archive footage. Sometimes it's video. I don't know if there was video. A lot of it's reenactment, but then there's some of it that's like a newspaper footage and stuff like that. Of course, then you'll get sometimes you'll get the victim's family's perspective. And it's very interesting. It's very heart-wrenching in some cases because you'd hate to think of an innocent man being railroaded, and it happens too much, and that's kind of why I'm not really a fan of the death penalty. I mean, I understand in theory, you kill someone and you've given up the right to live, but there's a lot of people who go to prison who didn't do what they were accused of, and I mean, one person dying is one too many. But so anyway, it's interesting series. I mean, it's more on the serious note, but it's good, very good. It's a very quick watch too. I watched it in probably a couple days, just marathoning it.
I'm worried about my computer knowing that I'm typing the words "I am a murderer."
I am a murderer. Yeah, they're going to be like FBI forward.
Yep.
Right.
Even better, this isn't a Google Doc, so that's totally tracked. That's Netflix, right?
Netflix, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Netflix, you're really good.
I've seen it there. I wasn't sure if I wanted to watch it. I don't always know.
Well, a lot of those docs kind of blend together because they put out a lot. So, I can understand being a little hesitant to
even just content, I wasn't sure if it was encouraging this behavior. You know what I mean?
No.
I just didn't know what to expect because there are some weird shows, but it's Netflix. I didn't think it would.
Yeah, the title almost sounds a little braggadocious.
Yeah, right? That's all.
I get that. I can see where you would maybe say that, but it's basically just I don't know. It's a title.
Stories, yeah.
And
to see their point of view.
And they're all, prison interviews, you know what I mean? And it's really neat because you kind of see a little bit of the process, even from the production end. You get an insight of kind of how these things happen. It's pretty cool.
I also forgot to say about the two channels I recommended, Scam School and Scam School and Modern Rogue. Brian Brushwood, the main guy in it. I actually started talking to him back then when I first started watching him, and I actually played Left 4 Dead 2 with him on Steam, which was pretty cool. He had a little like group of like a Steam group, and we all just played together. It was pretty fun. He's entertaining, and he was a sincere good guy. Yeah. So plugs. So check out Chris. He is CWR2 on Twitter. That's CWR and the number 2. He's the same on Instagram, CWR2.
And look out for that channel coming soon.
Yeah, look out for now featuring, which I now own the account for. I'm going to hijack it from you.
You god damn it.
Highest bidder. So I am Derek of Two Dorks. That's TWO Dorks on YouTube. That's where this video will be posted for the podcast, as well as the RSS feed, etc., etc. And check out the Cartridge Club, cartridgeclub.org. Community of gamers, content creators, and collectors, friends, people who just like to hang out with each other and talk about video games. So thank you for listening, and thank you again, Chris. You're awesome.
Cha-ching.
Your camera's shaking. What's going on?
I'm writing.
Oh, okay. Now yours camera shakes, and I removed mine off the arm that used to make it shake, and now yours does.
Well, I won't be doing that during the podcast. I'm just trying to jot some quick notes down. I was going to do it earlier, and I forgot.
Okay.
I once I get rolling, I just want.
You don't usually. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I can understand having notes. Trust me.
I just rely that you do good. You know, I trust you. Sure, it's fine.
You're a fool. You're a fool for trusting me.
Yeah, I know you edit it, or I look like a complete ass.
Yeah.
Every time.
Ass. That's all. I just edit it out, so you just say I am ass, right?
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Well, the way I look at things is, I don't know. Complete ass.